Coach June Jones's return to what he considers his second home has sparked another return. The return of the Rainbows to bowl action. The last time a 27-17 win over Illinois in the 92 Holiday Bowl. The 99 Bows boast the nation's third best passing attack, led by quarterback Dan Robinson. It's an offense that more than doubled its total points scored from a season ago. After 28 consecutive losing seasons, enter Dennis Erickson. And in his first season as head coach at Oregon State, the Beavers are bowlers. Oregon State ranked 11th in the nation in total offense. And their defense is chipped in when it comes to putting points on the board. But the Beavers rely on the big play, averaging 5 plays per game of 25 yards or more. Clearly moving in the right direction. A more perfect setting than paradise. 79 degrees as we get you set for the Jeep Oahu Bowl here in Hawaii. A near capacity crowd of some 50,000 fans are expected for Hawaii and Oregon State. Hi, everybody, and to you and yours a very Merry Christmas from all of us at the worldwide leader in sports. With Todd Christensen, I'm Steve Levy. It's kind of an odd bowl matchup. Think about Oregon State. They didn't have a winning season in 28 consecutive seasons, and last season Hawaii didn't have a single victory, and yet here they are. The Rainbows do it through the air. You'll see it all game, and they're led by an outstanding passer.
And Dan Robinson has really paid his dues. After an LDS church mission to China, he has gone through the losing program, as you mentioned, 0-12 last year. Now he is united with June Jones in the run and shoot, and look at the numbers that he has put up. He has been outstanding, truly the trigger man for the Rainbows this season.
Robinson broke 30 different school records this season alone. Speaking of record-setting and offense, Oregon State, they scored 330 points this season. That's the most in school history, but they got a lot of production out of the ground game.
5'7", 175, what's the big deal? Well, I'll tell you what the big deal is. Kenny Simonton is putting up some serious numbers. You see those numbers at the top? That's a record that Charles White had a number of years ago. He is already the all-time leading scorer for the Beavers with 30 touchdowns. He is a tremendous package of energy. He leads the offense for the Beavers.
This will not be the first matchup in a bowl game between these two, but it's the most recent. The last time, the 49 Pineapple Bowl. We'll have the 99 Jeep Oahu Bowl next.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 1999 Jeep Oahu Bowl is brought to you by Wendy's Classic Hamburgers. It's Hamburger Bliss. By Russell Athletic, made for the long run. And by Philips, light bulbs that last.
The only fitting way to get a football to start a game in which we expect a wide open, spread out passing attack would be to have the game football delivered via the air, as you saw just minutes ago.
That's great, isn't it?
And let's go down to clearly the favorite among the 3 members of our broadcast team here in Hawaii, Hawaii's favorite son. That's Larry Beal.
Hey, thank you, Steve. Merry Christmas, or as we say in the islands, Mele Kalikimaka. In Dennis Erickson and June Jones, we have 2 men who at this time last year were coaching in the NFL. They're here now trying to resurrect struggling programs. They have something else in common. Greg McMackin, he was an assistant coach under Erickson at Miami and in Seattle. He's in his first season as Hawaii's defensive coordinator, but this is his last game with the Rainbows. He's going to take over the defense at Texas Tech, and it's going to be an emotional day for him.
It is going to be emotional, and you know, I'm coaching against a great friend, with a great friend. My last game, it's going to be emotional.
I tell you, as we finished up the interview, any more questions, and the whole room full of people would have needed Kleenex. He may be crying also today if the Rainbows cannot figure out a way to stop Ken Simonton. Guys?
How about Larry flashing the local knowledge with the language, huh?
Oh, yeah, he's the best, man. We'll go to him for all the pronunciations.
Here you see the coin toss going on at the 50-yard line. What is your call? In a rather odd twist, Hawaii is actually the visiting team officially. They will occupy the visiting sideline, but in a gesture of goodwill, Oregon State allows Hawaii to wear their home green uniforms. But again, they will be on the visiting sideline today.
Let me explain something with regards to the goodwill. You want to have the white shirts because it's so warm. Dennis Erickson, of course, 2 national championships with Miami, has done a tremendous job here in Corvallis. As you pointed out, all the things that have occurred over the you know, past years, 3 decades worth. Now they've got a winner in town, as they say, and I think that they're going to do a great job up in Corvallis. On the other side, of course, June Jones turned down the San Diego Charger job to be in Hawaii. A lot of people thought he was crazy, but look what he has done. And ironically enough, Steve, something that you had pointed out to me, Mike Riley, who is the coach that Dennis Erickson replaced at Oregon State, is now the head coach in San Diego, the job that June Jones turned down. There's some symmetry to that.
And Greg McMackin, Larry mentioned the defensive coordinator. We'll see 2 defenses that probably will look somewhat similar.
Well, the thing is that Greg McMackin is concerned about the fact that Dennis Erickson knows him so well. But as we chatted with Dennis yesterday, he said, well, the reverse is true. He's going to come up with some different things. So it'll be an interesting chess match between those two.
Oregon State, they come in 7-4. The last time they had 7 victories in a season, you got to go back to 1966. They were 4-4 in their Pac-10 schedule.
And Steve, that last loss there at the bottom, the loss to Oregon, is the one that really sticks in their craw. They were excited about the bowl game for that reason, that they really wanted redemption. Nobody wants to lose to their rivals the way the Beavers did to the Ducks.
Hawaii, they come in with an 8-4 record. They go 5-2 in the WAC. And as you see that opener, look at that opener. You take out 62-7 that loss, and then actually quite a season for the Rainbow Warriors.
Shows the resilience of the young people on that team, Steve. It would be easy after going 0-12, losing your opener 62-7, and saying, here we go again. But to their credit, they bounced back. Just a tremendous season for the youngsters here in Honolulu.
And we are just about set. After the football game that was played earlier here today, seen over on ABC, Wake Forest smoking Arizona State, some strong defense. We are set for the nightcap, if you will, 3:30 p.m. local time. Ryan Seska is set to kick it away for Oregon State. Ricky Lumford and Flex Armstrong deep for Hawaii. And we are underway, the 1999 Jeep Oahu Bowl. Ricky Lumford from his 5 out to the 20, and he is spun around at the 26-yard line, and Hawaii will take over from there. The Hawaii offense, the lone back behind Dan Robinson, is Afatia Thompson. He'll start, but Avion Weaver will likely see action in the second half. The wide receivers for them, Dwight Carter is Robinson's favorite target. They tied a school record with 9 touchdown hookups together. And Todd, an offensive line that as a unit has started every game this season.
And Adrian Clem has been outstanding, helping to keep Dan Robinson upright, their best offensive lineman at left tackle.
Here we go on 1st and 10 out of the shotgun, as they will be for most of this football game. From the 27 they caught, they send the man in motion, Craig Stutzman, and Robinson to pass. And he is able to complete it to his favorite target, Dwight Carter. A good pickup on 1st down. Pickup of 9 will leave him 2nd and 1. The Oregon State defense will look something like this. Up front, the number 1 guy is number 1, DeLawrence Grant, their pressure player. He puts pressure on the quarterback. The backers, Darnell Robinson is second only to Grant in tackles for losses and sacks. And the defensive backs, and they figured to have a busy day with the way Hawaii throws. Dennis Weathersby, the team leader in passes, broken up.
DeLawrence Grant has to get to the quarterback today. Robinson cannot have the kind of time he has had in November in particular. The offensive line has been outstanding. That's the man that's got to sack Robinson.
2nd and 1 now. Pretty good spot to be in for the second play from scrimmage. And the pass, and what a catch it was by Craig Stutzman to pick up the 1st down. Only a short pickup, but what a grab, Todd.
And what's going to happen is that that's something that they're going to exploit. Darnell Robinson, the outside linebacker, is going to have to go with him man for man. Oregon State does not go in a nickel, so they have linebackers on wide receivers. But Stutzman there, not only with a one-handed catch, but behind him. Tremendous grab.
Picks up a fresh set of downs and a nifty start to this one. Some 30 seconds in from Hawaii. And if the boss is watching, Mo, Merry Christmas, and we've been working hard all week long. I mean, that sounds sincere?
Yeah, fooled me.
1st and 10 from the 40. Throwing and going for it, and he had a man. It was overthrown, was looking for Craig Stutzman. Good coverage by Darnell Robinson.
And Steve, that's what we pointed out. Robinson is going to have to be with him man for man. Stutzman is the run and shoot version of the tight end. He is the guy that is going to get the underneath throws and the short throws. But every now and then they're going to go up top, and there he had Robinson by a couple of steps. But the quarterback just couldn't deliver the ball on the money. This is going to be interesting too, Steve, as you can see the middle of the field, the shade in the sun. When you throw the ball to the outside on comebacks and outs, it could be difficult for some of the receivers.
Robinson with 3 wide receivers to the right. He pitches instead to Apatia Thompson. And he's able to pick up a couple of the play. James Allen and Jonathan Jackson there to make the tackle.
The run defense for Oregon State is probably going to be quite stalwart today. But the truth is that Hawaii has to establish something, or there's going to get to a point to where the Oregon State front seven could just pin their ears back. It appeared that he had some yardage, but again, the gap closed quickly, and now they're going to come up 3rd and about 7, Steve.
Robinson did not practice the final 3 weeks of the season, yet played in all 3 of those games. His shoulder's been bothering him. You see what they've done on 3rd down throughout the course of the season. 5th in the WAC, and here is 3rd down. First key play of this football game on a 3rd and 7. They send Stutzman in motion. Robinson to throw, and that time Stutzman could not bring it down under heavy pressure from James Allen and Toele Talatena.
Good call there, Steve. James Allen came from a blitzing spot. You can see him coming right at the quarterback. Robinson gets it off because he knows he has pressure. Stutzman couldn't come up with him, but even if he didn't, it wouldn't have been a 1st down. Good adjustment by Willie Robinson, defensive coordinator for Oregon State, to get some pressure on Robinson.
Chad Shrout is deep to punt for Hawaii on the 4th down. TJ Hushamanzea is back deep.
Pardon?
You know exactly what I meant. And he takes it at the 20-yard line and running east-west instead of north-south. No gain there. Chris Sweeney able to make the special teams tackle. On Christmas from the 50th state, we're scoreless early on.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 1999 Jeep Oahu Bowl is presented by Jeep Grand Cherokee with legendary off-road capability, and in part by Zocor. Talk to your doctor about Zocor today.
Got a good look at what this game is all about, but it's so much more than just a trophy. For Oregon State, it's a trip to Hawaii. Are you kidding me? The Beavers, with their first opportunity with the football, they open up in a 2 tight end set on 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. And Jonathan Smith will hand it off to the right side. And Ken Simonton looking to break it. There is a flag back on the play as Simonton crossed midfield on a big burst.
This is what Oregon State obviously wants to do. And it looks like it's offsides, and they'll certainly let that go. Steve, coming into this game, Hawaii has been giving up 187 yards rushing per game, and that concerns June Jones. Look at the point of attack. Simonton, one of the advantages of being 5'7", 175 is you don't need a big hole. But I'm telling you right now, Steve, you and I could have made it through that hole. Outstanding blocking at the point of attack by Mitch White and Aaron Cook.
It is a pickup of 30 yards on the play. 2 receivers left, 2 receivers right in Dennis Erickson's offense. And they send the man in motion. Jonathan Smith is passing and is able to complete it to Simonton, the running back. And he's close to another 1st down. Pickup of 7 on the play. The Oregon State offense, the quarterback is Jonathan Smith, who the coaches say have put the big play back in the Beaver offense. Of course, you can always hand off to Simonton, as you've already seen. The receivers, in his only year of eligibility at Oregon State, Amani Percoats has made it count. And up front, Aaron Cook is the best of the bunch, Todd.
3.63. As we see Percoats, 3.63 psychology, all academic is Cook.
2nd and 3. Simonton has checked out Antonio Battle in the game, and they give him the football, and he's got the 1st down and more, rumbling across the 35. 7 for Battle before Yafet Lauren made the stop. The Hawaii defense up front, Joe Correa, the inspirational leader of the Rainbows. The linebacker, the stud here, is Jeff Albrecht. He didn't just lead the team in tackles, he led the entire WAC in tackles. And the DBs, you could say Quincy Leger has a nose for the football. 7 interceptions, 3 of which he returned for touchdowns.
Steve Albrecht, the man you're looking at right there, 169 tackles. Unbelievable.
And they'll keep it on the ground. Back to Antonio Battle. Pickup of one in anything. Tony Tuioti able to make the stop from his right tackle position.
See, there's a phrase that party goers have. It's called, it's been a long time between drinks. Well, in Oregon State's case, it's been a downright drought. 34 years since the last time that they played in a bowl game. And of course, as you pointed out, 28 losing seasons. You know, Dennis Erickson rather, comes in here and he's anointed the savior, but give Mike Riley credit. Remember, they were 5-6 last year. They're pointed in the right direction.
Erickson keeps talking about the smiles on the faces of his players and really the fans. The draw play to Simonton, nothing doing there as Jeff Ulbrich is there to make the big stop in the middle.
Ulbrich does a great job of shooting the gap and getting there before the play can get started. They had it set up on the inside, but number 44, Ulbrich, you're going to get a chance to see from the left of your screen, shoots the gap, anticipates the handoff. So many times you see what happens is that the linebacker is not quick enough. He's able to come in and hit the quarterback instead of the runner. Great anticipation on the part of Ulbrich to force Oregon State to come up with their first third and long of the game.
You see the numbers on Ulbrich. 9 times this season he led the team in tackles, and he's well on his way here today. 3rd and 10 now upcoming, and the crowd really getting into it, and they force Oregon State to use their first timeout.
Oregon State.
And that'll allow us to step out. We're scoreless early on in the first quarter. Oregon State on the move on Christmas Day in Hawaii. Welcome back, everyone. The Jeep Oahu Bowl. 5 wide receivers now on 3rd and 10 at the 35-yard line. There you see what they've done. 3rd in the Pac-10 on 3rd down conversions. This might be 4th down territory. He's going to keep it. Jonathan Smith takes off, and he rumbles down to the 24-yard line, and very close. If they give him the 24, it's a first down. And they say yes, first down. The quarterback, Steve, Smith gets it.
Here's what happens with the 5 wide receivers. Now take a look at the middle. When you have to go man for man with the 5 wide receivers, you leave the middle open. Smith is able to take advantage of that. And interestingly enough, Steve, you watch the hesitation. I would have thought he was going to take off sooner. But at 5'10", 186 pounds, the point that they told us is that he's only like a 5-flat guy in the 40. He's not really a running quarterback, even though he's 5'10".
They said,
that time he was.
Sorry, Todd. They said they want to move him around because of his lack of size, but I don't think they move him around like that.
He's complaining about the play clock, and the official will fix it. He'll give it the raise the roof sign and get it back to 25.
There are zeros on the play clock right now, as you see. 9:57 to play in the scoreless first quarter. This is the first possession for Oregon State.
You can see Dennis Erickson right on top of it there.
Hawaii takes a timeout on defense. We'll be right back. This the second annual Jeep Oahu Bowl. Last year in this football game, Air Force took out Washington with plenty of points, 45-25, and we expect to see by the end of this game lots of points on the board. 1st and 10, 2 tight ends set for Oregon State now. Jonathan Smith to throw under heavy pressure. They set the screen up nice to Ken Simonton, able to get around the end, cuts in, and he's well past first down territory and down to the 12 after a pickup of 13.
The thing about Simonton is that he makes the one guy miss, and of course the guy he makes miss is the all-world Ulbrich. Here comes the blitz. They have him out in space. Ulbrich has to make this tackle. Look at the little skip step. He is gone. Ulbrich has no chance. Simonton comes upfield, does a great job of making people miss. We said at the top, 5'7", 175. Steve, height means nothing. It's about playing the game, and this young man certainly can.
You see the numbers catching the football out of the backfield. Much more than just a runner. 2 receivers out to the left. They'll pitch it that way to Simonton, and he is down to the 5-yard line after a pickup of 7. Shonday Tucker made the tackle.
The other thing that impresses me about Simonton, what tremendous vision. You can see there comes with a blitz, and for all intents and purposes, he should have got walked. Watch the quick cut back to the inside. Gets the block by White, able to cut back on the inside and get the yardage. Otherwise, he's dropped for a loss. That's something you just can't teach, Steve. Great runners have that kind of vision.
Simonton led the nation in rushing after the second week of the season, after the third week. The first Oregon State player to ever lead the country in rushing at any time. And he's looking to add to some of those numbers, and he is, looks like just shy of the goal line. They gang tackled him with Yafet Warren and Matt Paul.
Now, Steve, he's going to get the first down, but the thing here that is impressive, again, we keep dwelling on his size, or at least I'm doing that. I need to give it a rest. Whatever he is, 175, 185, 190, he moved the pile. You see that? He got collided with three guys, and you're thinking, well, he's going to get stuffed. He moves back. Instead, he moves the pile inside the 1 yard line. And take a look at the thighs on that young man, that lower body.
You saw Simonton, much shorter than the quarterback, who we pointed out is not tall either at 5'10", Jonathan Smith. And flags on the play. Looked like they were going to give it to Simonton. Simonton rushing so far is averaging nearly 10 yards per carry and 10 yards per reception so far.
The thing that was impressive about that shot, you pointed out their height. Again, at the collegiate level, I don't think it's as consequential. Certainly not consequential at all for a runner. Take a look at the legs of Simonton. You're looking at thighs that are somewhere between 28 and 30 inches. I didn't ask him, but I'm guessing this is a 550 to 600-pound squad guy. I mean, that's somebody that spent some time in the weight room. He's absolutely fearless. Does everything they ask him. Catch the ball out of the backfield, run between the tackles, run wide. He's terrific.
Prior to the snap, encroachment by contact, defense, half the distance to the goal. Still, first down.
But you can see the movement on the interior. Fuga just a little bit anxious to try and make a play. The result is that Oregon State will get yet another 6 inches.
Simonton comes in as a sophomore, already the career scoring leader for Oregon State with 2 tight ends. He might just look to make it a little tougher for the next guy to catch him. He does. Ken Simonton is in for the first touchdown of the football game, and he gives Oregon State a 6-0 lead. Man, that looked easy, Todd.
80-yard drive, and the white shirts pushed a bunch of green shirts into the back of the end zone. The offensive line for Oregon State really established themselves on that particular drive. Great at the point of attack once again by the right side. Mitch White, Martin Maurer, Aaron Cook, and Chris Gibson at center.
Ryan Seska on to attempt the extra point. And Seska has it. And it gives Oregon State a 7-0 lead.
Usually at the goal line, you've got a situation where you got some people making some penetration. Instead, look as Simonton goes into the end zone. Look at the number of green shirts that are backwards. See, Ulbrich makes contact, but that's about 3 or 4 yards downfield. That offensive line for Oregon State, tremendous in this drive. 18 touchdowns for Simonton in 1990.
Hey, folks, ESPN's bowl coverage continues on Tuesday with the Sylvania Alamo Bowl, featuring a matchup between Coach Joe Paterno's Penn State Nittany Lions and the Aggies of Texas A&M. This game marked the 30th time in 34 seasons that Jopa has led Penn State to a bowl game. Coverage starts with bowl game night at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's Penn State, Texas A&M in the Sylvania Alamo Bowl. ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
Do you remember that Back to the Future episode where they did that thing way in the future, like 2019, and the winner of the World Series, the Chicago Cubs, and everybody was laughing? Right. I thought they should have had a tag to that. And winner of the Orange Bowl, Penn State, coached by Joe Paterno. I mean, Joe Pa's been there half a century. That's amazing.
Seska, after connecting on the extra point, will kick it off. Oregon State out to the 7-0 lead. Ricky Lumford and Flex Armstrong again back deep. That's Flex right there. Another guy goes 5'7", 165 pounds, and the ball blown off the tee, and we'll set it up again. That Oregon State scoring drive, Ken Simonton accounted for 59 of the 79 yards rushing and receiving on that scoring drive.
5 carries for 40 yards, 2 catches for 19 yards. And I don't mean bad in the
bad good.
Yeah, in the hood colloquialism. I mean, that's a bad. Well, good for fishing.
So you mean the bad look then?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Seska will kick it off with some assistance to prevent the wind from blowing the ball off again. And it is Flex Armstrong. Thought about it for a second and elects to take a knee. And Hawaii, the Rainbows, will operate 1st and 10 from the 20. The scoring drive for Oregon State. Looks a lot like this.
Well, there's Battle. Battle gives Simonton a break. Smith on 3rd and 10 is able to break up field and get the first down. And then, of course, sweet feet right there by Simonton. He makes Ulbrich miss, gets inside the 10-yard line. The offensive line really did the rest. Simonton goes left, gets down to the 5, just burrows over easily for the touchdown. Hawaii really needs to do something here at the point of attack, and I think the onus is going to be on Greg McMacken in terms of defensively to do some different things. Stevie's going to have to take some chances of putting 8 or 9 in the box and make the young quarterback beat him up top.
They will start with poor field position from the 10-yard line on 1st and 10. Avion Weaver is in the game. Afatia Thompson started at running back, the lone setback.
Steve, I talked over a push in the back. That's the reason why they're back at the 10-yard line.
We'll let you slide on that one, Todd. Robinson sends the receiver. Laley in motion. Robinson with some time and throwing, and he is high again. He's been high early on. Remember, Stutzman made the great grab on a high throw earlier, but so far his other receivers haven't been able to help him out.
But DeLawrence Grant was right in his face, and we mentioned at the top that he was the young man that had to get some pressure. Number 1 for Oregon State defensive lineman at the bottom of your screen. You can't have a back on him. A back just has no chance against a 250-pounder who's used to going up against 300-pound linemen. Instead, they decide to slide left, and they pay the price as Grant drops Robinson.
Brings up a 2nd and 10 now. And there's a pretty good look at what the quarterback, Dan Robinson, is looking at. Stutzman in motion, and they hand off to Stutzman. And if he could have gotten around the corner, there could have been a big gain, but he couldn't. And there is a penalty coming up on the play. Good stop by the Oregon State defense.
James Allen is the one that comes around, and he's the one that actually gets held. He makes a terrific play, despite the fact that he was held, dropping him for a loss. I'm certain that Oregon State will refuse this. Allen at the point of attack just does a tremendous job from his outside linebacker position, making the tackle despite the fact that he's got the 300-pounder draped around him.
If Stutzman could have gotten around that corner.
Holding. Offense. Penalty refused. 3rd down.
There would have been some running room for him, but he couldn't.
Well, again, take a look at the point of attack. They go with the motion. Now watch, he's in motion, comes back. Watch Allen to the left of your screen. There he's being held. He gets tackled, but still able to get out despite the fact the number 71, Kaulana Noah, holds on to him and drags him down. Just a great job by Allen.
The rushing yards so far. And we would expect a large disparity with the way Hawaii throws the football, though that part of the game hasn't worked early on. Middle screen there, nothing doing. Avion Weaver, the running back, made the reception, picked up maybe a yard on the play.
Steve, I'm not so sure that was a middle screen as much as Robinson saying there's nothing downfield. I'm not going to get whacked. Here, it's your turn, Weaver. Take this one. I'm going to the sidelines. We'll start over again.
Does that go on? Does that happen?
Yeah, I'm afraid it does. And again, situation where now the field position is certainly in favor of Oregon State, and the onus returns to the defense of the Rainbows.
Chad Schrout to punt it away. TJ Hushmanzada is standing not all that deep, just over his side of the 50-yard line. Schrout from his own end zone off the high snap is able to boot it away. It's a low kick. Hushmanzada can't handle the football. Let's see. Loose ball.
I think he got it back, Steve. It appeared for just a second that Sean Butts was able to get the ball because Hushmanzada bobbled it.
Hawaii says they have it, but the officials are pointing in the direction of Oregon State.
The official quickly jumped on it, and you could see sprinted over and said Oregon State right away. And it appears that it was Hushmanzada that comes up with the recovery. Low kick. He's trying to hustle over and make the catch. The wind blows it just a little bit, goes through his hands. You can see Butts has a great opportunity, but give Hushmanzada credit. He hustles over, and really the man that does come up with the ball, I'm not sorry, Steve, it was Ricky Walker who gets between the legs of Hushmanzada to come up with it.
And so Oregon State takes over in tremendous field position now. 1st and 10 from their own 44-yard line. 3 receivers to the left. The give is to Simonton, and he won't get back to midfield. Good tackle on the play. Nate Jackson was there. Here's Larry Beal.
You know, talking about Ken Simonton, this is a guy coming to Hawaii, said he was afraid of the ocean. Well, they got him to go out there, swim around with the fishes. He actually was neck and neck with a sea turtle, and so far he's swimming his way through the Rainbow defense in the first half.
What a story Simonton is, Larry. The top sophomore season in the Pac-10 ever by a running back. Had 38 more yards than Charles White had back in '77 for USC. This is a 2nd down and 5. And they'll give it to the workhorse Simonton. He'll try the right side. He's got the first down and more. He's across the 40 and brought down at the 38-yard line by Sean Day Tucker.
It's not as if Oregon State is doing anything tricky. They're just going at the point of attack. And once again, Aaron Cook is able to dominate his man at the line of scrimmage, get some push, and Simonton's not getting touched until he's a good 5-6 yards downfield. Watch the right guard, number 50. Look at him push his man off. Simonton bounces to the outside. He gets the double team, and look at that. It's just clear sailing. This is the kind of game as a running back you dream of when you know your offensive line is going as well as they are. Already with 58 yards here, Steve, about the middle of the first quarter.
When you mentioned the offensive line, they see that as the strength of this Oregon State offense. And here's Jonathan Smith stepping up and throwing, and it's nearly intercepted. Should have been an interception. Sean Del Tucker, who made the last tackle, should have had a pick there. The intended receiver was Roddy Tompkins. As you take another look at it.
Again, there's a situation to where if you're a runner, you take off right now. Take on Ulbrich, but instead on the run, he throws off the wrong foot. It should have been an interception by Tucker, but instead, he drops it. That would have been a big turnover for Hawaii. They needed that.
There you look at Sean Del Tucker and what he has meant to this Hawaii defense. Led the team in 10 passes broken up this season. That's 4th best in the WAC. 5 wide receivers again here for Oregon State. Tip ball, and it is complete to Hushmanzada. And he's about halfway to another first down. Jeff Ulbrich had the contact with the football to tip it in the air, but Hushmanzada had enough time still to make the grab.
Well, that says something about the blocking downfield, Steve. The ball is tipped. It's up in the air longer than it should be. Hushmanzada comes down with it, and still there's room to run. Good tackle there, but again, Hushmanzada, a big receiver at about 195, 200 pounds, able to push forward and put Oregon State in pretty good field position.
Third down conversion, so far so good for Oregon State. On a 3rd down and 3, battle is in the game. This is the 15th offensive play for Oregon State. That's what they start with on their script. 15 offensive plays, a completed pass, but there is a flag on the play. Martin Maurer, the tight end, able to make the reception, but again, a flag thrown before the completion.
Definitely in the holding area, Steve. I think they're going to push Oregon State back. And again, we talk about that offensive line, how well they've been blocking for Simonton. Well, they're giving Smith a lot of time to throw. That was a good 5 seconds. He had to bide his time before he threw left. But, of course, in this case, it was an illegality.
Holding. Offense. 10 yards. Line of scrimmage. Still 3rd down.
Almost 2-to-1 in total plays for Oregon State. But, again, the defensive line for Hawaii, we had talked to the various and sundry coaches saying that had been a strength. They've been able to plug the middle. And, of course, we mentioned all the tackles that number 44 had made. But Oregon State, up to this point, Steve, clearly dominant.
Greg McMackin told us, those defensive tackles, that if they're not making tackles themselves, they can still be doing their job. Those stats don't show up. Heavy pressure. Smith able to dunk under it and get away from another man. But he won't get away from a 3rd man. He is taken down by Doug Sims.
Steve, that's a 357-pound man who with the left hand was able to spike Smith. Great coverage downfield. It may have been a coverage sack, but again, they came with the blitz. Smith able to avoid the first 2. Here he's able to duck underneath Lejay. Cuts to the right, shakes outside of Korea, and now here comes Sims, the 357-pounder, able to spike the quarterback, and he's pretty excited. He's got a little rhythm, and he's excited enough to get the Bows hopefully back into this thing.
Pretty good stop by that Hawaii defense. Loss of 6 on the play, brings up a 4th down and 20. Justin Colbert is back deep for Hawaii. Players back deep. Ricky Lumford took the football. Nearly some dangerous miscommunication, but Hawaii has the football, and they will take over on 1st and 10 from their own 13. Next Tuesday on ESPN2, it's a National Hockey Night doubleheader. At 7 o'clock Eastern, the Detroit Red Wings travel to Buffalo to take on high-scoring Miroslav Shatan and the Sabres. And then at 10, the Rangers will travel to Phoenix to take on Jeremy Roenick, the 4th leading scorer in the NHL, and the Coyotes. The last NHL doubleheader of the millennium on ESPN2's National Hockey Night. 1st and 10 from the 14 now. Robinson's been out of the shotgun for every single offensive play so far. This time they run out of the shotgun to Weaver, who loses the football, and Oregon State has it.
Terrence Carroll, the free safety, not only makes the hit, but it appears that he comes up with the ball as well. Great tackle, and interestingly enough, that is a safety that defensive coordinator Willie Robinson praised highly. 66 tackles and 3 interceptions coming into this. It appeared that they had something going at the point of attack. Great job by the offensive line, but watch from the right of your screen. Number 44 with a textbook tackle. Plants the helmet between the 2 and the 0. Hand right on the ball, and he's able to recover it as well. Great play by Carroll.
Turnovers have been a problem for Hawaii.
A problem?
All right, I guess you could say the worst in the nation.
Now they are.
35 coming in. That was number 36. And after a big stop by the Rainbow defense, their offense coughs up the football. And Oregon State's offense will go back to work with Antonio Battle, giving Ken Simonton a bit of a breather.
Steve, you're exactly right. When your defense has been pushed around, then they come out, get a stop. You have some momentum going, good-looking running play. But again, I'm not sure that you can necessarily blame the runner there. But Carroll, number 44, just made a terrific play for the Beavers.
Simonton checks back in the football game. On a 2nd and 7, there is an injured Hawaii player down on the field. Might be looks like D. Miller, the strong safety.
How cool is that, do you think? To be the shortest guy in the field, but also arguably the most valuable. I know Barry Sanders has had that feeling. Barry's about 5'8 1/4. You probably don't remember Rufus Ferguson.
Loved Rufus. Have a big poster of him.
5'6". Boy, he was something.
Here's Larry Beal.
You know, you're talking, Todd and Steve, about Ken Simonton, and Todd talking about a 500 or 600 pound squat. This is a guy who's only 5 feet 7 inches tall, and he can dunk a basketball. He's almost like the Spud Webb of Oregon State. Here's what Coach Dennis Erickson had to say about his star running back.
Very strong. Great vision and great feet. Not overly fast, but he can see things and makes breaks. He's got great feet and can make cuts, and he's a lot stronger than people think. For his size, he's really strong, and he breaks a lot of tackles. His lower body strength is really unbelievable, and he'll run through a lot of tackles.
When I talked to some of the Hawaii coaches before the game, especially the defensive coaches, they said, if we can't stop Ken Simonton, this is going to be a very long day. They've got their work cut out for him. Guys?
Larry, thanks. We told you he was already the career scoring leader in his sophomore season. He came in needing 196 yards rushing to become the Beavers' career rushing leader. And as you saw, he's already got 58 carries and well on his way to that.
You know what? I'm going out on a limb here. If he doesn't get it today, I think he's going to get it.
You think?
2000. I know. That's just me.
But to be the career scoring leader in your sophomore season.
That is. That's amazing.
They've been playing Beaver football for some time. Sack. Ulbrich, the star of the defense, gets to the quarterback, Jonathan Smith.
Ulbrich and Quincy LeJay come on the blitz. This is what they have to do, is take some chances. They were set for reverse, and give Jonathan Smith credit, because he was just about to hand that ball off, and at the last minute he pulls it back. Here they come on what's known as the bullets blitz. They shoot the gap. There it is. Just at the last minute, he sent the ball off to Robert Prescott on the reverse, but he has the sense and wherewithal to pull the thing back in. Already Ulbrich with 4 tackles, a sack, and a block pass.
Ulrich came in with 8 sacks this season, 15 tackles for losses, both 3rd best in the WAC. After the sack, brings up a 3rd and 14. Here's Smith, trying to step up, and he'll go down again. This time it's Mike Iosua with the sack.
Well, again, let's give a lot of credit here to the defense of Hawaii rising to the occasion. The last time the offense punts from the 10, Oregon State has great field position. They stop them then. The offense has a turnover, and this time Iosua is able to beat his man at the line of scrimmage. It appeared that Chris Gibson, the center, was looking the other way. He was starting his first game in quite a while at center. It appeared that he had him, but he wasn't able to stay with him.
This would be a 42-yard field goal attempt from Ryan Seska, and no good. No good. The 2 sacks really hurt Oregon State after the turnover. And they're unable to put any points on the board.
And Steve, this crowd is just waiting for a reason to get into this, and now they have it. The defense with two great stops back to back. Now decent field position for the offense of Hawaii. This is the opportunity now for Dan Robinson to get something going. Whatever adjustments McMackin made in terms of taking some chances, as we pointed out, Steve, 8, 9 men in the box, blitzing from a lot of different angles. It worked in those last two series.
Might want to circle that. Oregon State took over 1st and 10 at the 15, and they're unable to manage any points out of that. Two good stands by the Hawaii defense in a row. And now we'll see what their offense can do for him. Maybe keep him off the field for a few minutes. Here's Robinson to throw. Looking right and throwing right. And a good grab there by Ashley Lele, who stepped in front of the defender, Keith Hayward-Johnson, and nearly had a shot at a pick.
I thought that Hayward-Johnson did, but that shows the accuracy of Robinson. One of the things that June Jones pointed out with regards to his quarterback is that he has enough confidence that he's going to throw when somebody is covered. In this case, Lele certainly is covered, but he gets his 180-pound, 6'3" body in front of Hayward-Johnson to come up with a grab.
Robinson, the quarterback, the native of American Fork, Utah. Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. One of the Tri-Cities, along with Highland and Alpine.
When you send him a letter, it says American Fork on the envelope?
It does indeed. That's a great name. Hey, man, we can't all be from Queens, all right?
2nd and 2. And the completed pass to Atrice Brooks, the junior who we were told we would see. And now 3, 4, and 5 flags flying. Look, not in the Christmas spirit time.
Now, Brooks isn't very happy about what happened. He wanted to make something happen right away. He has not been playing regularly. His frustration boiled over, and that was foolish because of the fact that you had 2nd and very short. Even with the loss, they come back at about 3rd and 4. Now at the 15-yard penalty, you can see Brooks with the attitude.
We have a personal foul after the play was ruled dead. The offensive player kicking the defensive player. By rule, that player has been ejected.
Well, June Jones had talked about the skill of Brooks, and he felt like he was really going to be a player for them in the future. But on this particular play, foolish thing to do. Okay, right now he's down. There's the collision at the point of attack. Now, why get angry? You got to let it go right there. There's the kick right in front of all the officials. And, of course, it certainly doesn't hurt Grant because he kicked him in the shoulder pad. And to get kicked out of the game this early, that's very foolish.
Brooks had been hampered by a hand injury for a good portion of the season. Actually caught the longest pass play of the season for Hawaii, an 80-yard bomb from Dan Robinson. But forget about it. Won't have the speed for the rest of the game as he is kicked out of this one.
And in addition, because it was after the fact, Steve, it's 3rd down now as opposed to 2nd.
That could really hurt the Rainbows after those two great defensive stands. 3rd and 20. Here comes the pressure, and Robinson's able to get it off and complete it, but well shy of the 1st down. Stutzman went up to make the grab in front of Terrence Carroll.
Once again, a lot of pressure on the part of Robinson. He points downfield and says, nice job, but really that was just to get some yardage back, to get some field position. And so now the two great, you don't say that those two great stands were wasted. They weren't, because those certainly could have been points for the Beavers. But the loss of composure by Brooks on what would have been a very makeable 3rd and about 4, very costly for the Rainbows this series.
And they will not get the punt off. Chad Shrout will have to punt it away from the other end of the football field. First quarter is complete from Hawaii in the Jeep Oahu Bowl, and Oregon State has the lead, 7-0.
It's been the Kenny Simonton show, clearly. Going left, going right. He's going to have about 60 yards rushing up to this point in the lone touchdown. He is as good as advertised.
Christmas Day turning into late Christmas afternoon here in Hawaii. It is paradise, beautiful as advertised. Hawaii, again, officially the visiting team here on their home field. TJ Hushmanzada is deep to receive at his own 32. Chad Shrout set to punt it away from his own 11. Gets it off. A low spiraling kick. Hushmanzada, who fumbled the last return, able to corral this one. There is a flag on the play as Hushmanzada brings it up to the 48.
3 different flags, Steve. One of them is going to be a block in the back, and I think Hawaii is certainly going to take that one at about the 35 and finally at least push Oregon State back a little bit in terms of field position. That low punt gave Hushmanzada an opportunity, but he just couldn't quite get going. And of course, a couple of bad blocks.
There is Atrice Brooks, who, as we told you, was ejected from the football game. I don't think he's still supposed to be on the bench there, Todd.
Well, after what happened, I'm not sure that that's what I'd want to be, and I don't know why they're shaking hands with him, congratulating him for what, getting kicked out? That gentleman definitely won't congratulate him on what happened. Interesting stat here, Steve, as we get the call. So they'll take the one that's deepest, and as I pointed out, it's at the 35-yard line of Oregon State, so they're going to be way, way back. 16 of the 19 plays run from scrimmage for Oregon State have been in Hawaii territory, and yet the score is still set only 7-0. Got to give the Rainbow defense some credit.
You hear about Hawaii, and all they talk about is their offense, the passing offense, and yet their defense has been so strong today.
On the kick, we had holding on the receiver after the kick has crossed the line of scrimmage. On the return, illegal block in the back on the kickers. The penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick, 10 yards, first down, Oregon State.
Well, as we pointed out, they wanted the one that was farthest downfield, and here it is. Look at the top of your screen. There's the push in the back. Otherwise, he makes the tackle. The official's right on top of it. And the result is field position at the 25 instead of across midfield.
Big play. On the flag, Simonton is the lone setback. Fumble the snap. And it's recovered by Hawaii. Tony Tuioti able to make the fumble recovery. And we'll have to check the center on that play. There has been some discussion. Keith DiDomenico did not start this football game. He had been the starting center for 9 of the 11 games.
And that's exactly who it was right there. It was DiDomenico, who after Gibson had gone through the first quarter, he comes up, the snap goes badly. Interesting thing there, you can see we talked about the turnovers given up. Cause now, 3rd in the nation. That's ironic that you'd have that combination on one team, but that's how it is playing in the islands, I guess.
Hawaii giveth and they taketh away.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
And now they have great field position, 15 seconds and a quarter number 2. Here's Dan Robinson to throw across the middle, complete to Craig Stutzman. And he is brought down by Calvin Carlisle, the sophomore from LA.
Again, Stutzman showing the great hands, reaching back for the ball. Stutzman on the crossing route, Robinson able to find him. Coming from the left of your screen, number 2 will settle down a little bit in the middle between the linebackers, and great catch coming back for the ball.
Stutzman's 13th consecutive game with at least a catch. And in most games, he's had much more than that. 3 receivers out to the right. They send Stutzman in motion. Now he'll go back out to the right side in a slot. And they'll try that play again. They hand it off to Stutzman. This play resulted in a holding penalty earlier. And this time it just goes for a short game before Ladarius Jackson made the stop for the Beavers.
But it's going to be enough for a first down, Steve. And again, getting the opportunity to have the crowd get into this one, needless to say, it is a pro-Hawaii crowd. And certainly the Rainbows want to take advantage of that.
Along those lines, people said, hey, what an advantage this would be for Hawaii playing in front of their home fans. But keep in mind, the Rainbows went 5-4 only at home this season, and they had only 3 road games, and they won all 3 of those. So the home field advantage has not been much of a factor for Hawaii this season. And the quarterback Robinson seeing something he didn't agree with. And Hawaii will use their second timeout. 1 remaining in the first half. The Rainbows trailing by 7. We'll be right back. Christmas Day.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 1999 Jeep Oahu Bowl is brought to you by Circuit City. Answers in every department, low prices all over the store. And by K-Swiss, athletic footwear and apparel.
Welcome back, and on Christmas, got to have the family in town, and
A couple of handsome youngsters there, huh?
the son and daughter of our director, John McDonough. A Merry Christmas to each and every one of you watching. Steve Levy, Todd Christensen, Larry Beal, and our fine crowd and our fine crew. on college football broadcasting. Bowl week on ESPN. This is a 1st and 10 now for Hawaii. Here's Dan Robinson, hit with pressure, but he's able to complete the pass to Dwight Carter. He was wide open for a second, and man, did Oregon State close and quickly.
Samuel Gage is right in his chest, and this shows the courage of Dan Robinson. 6'4", 220 pounds, hanging in there, knowing that he's going to get hit. On the bottom of your screen, here he comes. Look at right, he knows he's going to get hit, just gets absolutely pulverized. I'm sorry, it was Allen who hits him. He's able to hang in there, deliver the ball on the money, and get yardage, even though it appeared it could have been a sack.
The numbers on Robinson so far, just fine. Thank you very much. On 2nd and 5 now from the 8. Weaver is the lone setback. Robinson to throw, and he threw well behind his receiver. The intended target was Channon Harris.
It appeared that Eric Manning at the line of scrimmage was able to get a piece of that. You can see Dan Robinson was a little bit frustrated because he felt like he had his man on the slant route.
The numbers to this point, Todd, they all favor Oregon State. First downs, total yards, time of possession, et cetera, et cetera. And here is Hawaii statistically being blown out of the game, yet trailing only by 7, and yet they're at the 8-yard line.
Lies, damn lies, and statistics, son.
On 3rd and 5. 0 for 3, looking for a 3rd down conversion. And that pass well off the mark, well outside of the receiver, Dwight Carter.
James Allen, the linebacker for Oregon State, has been playing a terrific game, making tackles, blitzing the quarterback. In that case, he's able to get out in the flat. They double-team the wide receiver. What they had was what they call a fade stop. They try and make it look like he's running a fade, then he hits the brakes. Allen sprints out to the flat, forces Robinson to throw the ball away. Number 34 for Oregon State, having a tremendous game up to this point, Steve.
Eric Hannon will look to connect on the 26-yard field goal. He has struggled from long range. You saw the numbers, but he's able to make the 26-yarder. They started from the 24. Not a whole lot to show for it, but they do manage to get the points on the board. The Rainbows on the board. They still trail 7-3. Welcome back. Hawaii is on the board. They trail 7-3. And I'll tell you what, the Beaver fans are making some noise here. They're clearly outnumbered by the Hawaii fans, but we were at the banquet the other night for the Jeep Oahu Bowl, and those Oregon State fans, they were loud.
I'm telling you. And they had a good drummer, too.
Yes, they did. The Oahu Bowl putting on a tremendous show here in Hawaii. The only doubleheader bowl of its kind. And we at ESPN are very pleased to be a part of it. Robert Prescott is back deep along with Ricky Walker to receive the kickoff. 7-3 football game. We expected lots of points in this one, and we've yet to see it.
Onside kick.
Onside kick. Shrout did not kick it off for Hawaii.
Jake Kukas, I think, is the strong safety who ultimately are still trying to find out whether or not he had the ball. Now, here's an interesting point. If for whatever reason Hawaii comes up with this ball, here's the big argument as to whether or not you're down. It appeared that he had the ball rolled over and then it came out. That would be the question. Is he really down? Taking a big chance here is June Jones. Kukas is the guy that comes up with the ball, but I'm telling you right now, it would appear, as we're sitting there discussing it, see what the flag is.
The ball was recovered by Oregon State. We have personal fouls against both teams. First down.
Well, of course, everybody is standing still. They're not really knowing what's going on. Here's the fake kick, and right here at the last minute, he fools him, comes to the left is the kick by Huggins. They're right there. The ball is loose. They actually hit him on top of the ball. And it appears that it isn't Kukas that comes up with it, but instead number 52 for Oregon State, Greg Brown Davis, able to roll over his back and come up with the ball. A lot of courage on the part of June Jones and his staff to take a take a chance at this point, but that also shows a lot of confidence in their defense, Steve, which on the last two series has been able to come up with stops.
It does give Oregon State, obviously, the great field position. They start on the Hawaii side of the football field. Jonathan Smith, screen pass to Ken Simonton. And Simonton is across the 45 to the 43. Anthony Smith, the linebacker, makes the stop after the pickup of 6.
Good job of Anthony Smith of weaving through the blockers. That was set up very well. And, of course, when you have the running back who's that short, he's able to hide behind the offensive lineman and set things up well. But Smith, undeterred, is able to weave his way through the phalanx of blockers and drop Simonton for a gain of only 7, a gain that should have been about 20.
Smith, an interesting story. He moved from safety to linebacker during the spring. Last year, he led the team in tackles from the safety position. You'd think you wouldn't mess with your leader in tackles, but they move him around. More speed up front. To Simonton on the right side. He barrels ahead for another pickup, a first down, pick up a 6 on the play. And they'll start from the 36-yard line. Quincy LeJay, the tackle.
Steve, I have to question a little bit Tim Lopano and the Oregon State offensive staff as to what they were doing here. Remember that first series, they just pretty much ran it down their throats. And then they went with the reverse, tried some passes, rolled out, tried to get a little bit too cute. As you can see, Lopano right there. Excellent job with the offense this year at Oregon State. As you pointed out, set a record with 330 points scored. But until they stop Simonton, I say give him the ball.
Off the play action. Play action should work with Simonton running the way he has. And Smith will take off. The 30, the 25, and he is slammed down at the 20-yard line. Anthony Smith caught him from behind after the pickup of 17.
Steve, when you've got a quarterback that runs the 40 and 5 flat, and a runner as good as Simonton, you'd say to yourself, how good does the offensive line have to be to give the time that they've been giving Smith? Well, take a look right here. Look at the time he's biding. That's his 3rd receiver he's looked at. Now, finally, he says, I have to take off. And, of course, because Hawaii is in man-for-man coverage, they have their backs turned. Again, making the tackle is Anthony Smith, but very late. Huge game for the Beavers.
Is in to give Simonton a breather, even though he was just a decoy on that last play. 2 receivers out to the left. And they will give it to Battle. Antonio Battle, I believe his 2nd carry of the game. Tony Tuioti able to make the stop. You mentioned Tim Lopano, the offensive coordinator. Oregon State actually has their defensive coordinator, Willie Robinson, up there as well. I thought Robinson made the great point. He said, when you have both coordinators in the booth, if you make a mistake on the field, there's no one to smooth it over for you. You got to go right to the boss and hear it from Dennis Erickson. That's a great point.
Yeah, it is. It is. Psychologically, it is.
Brings up a 2nd and 7 now. Ball spotted at the 16. 7-3 Oregon State. They're looking for more, and it's Battle again. He cuts outside, then back inside, and right into Jeff Albrecht.
Are you as surprised as I am that Battle's getting the playing time that he is? Simonton had been so effective in the first quarter, and as you mentioned, it had only been 2 or 3 plays.
Simonton is in position, Todd, after his sophomore season to rush for 1,000 yards in each of his 4 seasons. No Pac-10 running back has ever done that. Oregon State will spread it out, go to 5 wide receivers. Smith all by himself in the backfield for the Beavers. Looking to make the quick throw. Batted ball. It's tipped up and tipped out of bounds. Joe Correa, we're told the inspirational leader of this Hawaii defense, able to make the batted ball.
And, of course, this is an issue, as offensive coordinator Tim Lopano pointed out. When your quarterback is 5'10", he has to find alleyways between the people. Right in the face of Correa. Actually, he didn't hit that with his hands. It ricocheted off his helmet. That's the major deterrent of having a quarterback that's 5'10", as Lopano pointed out to us.
Field goal attempt for Ryan Seska. This from 31. He was no good from 42. Here he'll try it from 31 yards away. And he's missed that one as well. Seska is 0 for 2. And now 6 of 13 on the season. And it stays a 7-3 football game.
You can see him throwing his arms up in the air a little bit frustrated. I think he was frustrated with the hold. Dennis Erickson is just plain frustrated as they came down the field. He thought he was going to get points out of that, but he didn't.
Back in Hawaii, the Jeep Oahu Bowl on this very same field in this very same stadium on ABC earlier today. Wake Forest and Arizona State in the Jeep Aloha Bowl. Ben Sankey hit the coach's kid, Jimmy Caldwell, with a 56-yard score. Made it 13-3, and Morgan Kane opened things up, making it 23 early in the fourth quarter. Wake Forest a 23-3 winner over Arizona State.
You and I had Wake Forest earlier in the year against Virginia, and if you'd have told me then that they'd be in a bowl game, I'd have told you were nuts. But give credit to Coach Caldwell and his staff. Great job, 1999, culminating in an Aloha Bowl victory.
Can you make that point? Same two teams we have here today. Really 3 of the 4 pleasant surprises to be in bowl action. That pass goes incomplete. Dan Robinson looking to hook up with Ashley Lele.
Someone pointed out to me, he said, I wish I could remember who it was now, but he said, you know what, if in August you had gone to Vegas, taken out your 100K and said, look, here's what I think. Oregon State and Hawaii are going to be in bowl games. Yeah, right. I'll give you Buster Douglas odds on that one, huh? And here they are. That's just great.
Look at Robinson's numbers. Hawaii's last bowl game, the Holiday Bowl in '92. Oregon State's last bowl season was 1964. They lost to Michigan 34-7 in the Rose Bowl. This is only the Beavers' 6th bowl game ever. They've traveled lots of folks from Corvallis to cheer for their Beavers. Here's Robinson going long. And we get a flag on the play right before I was going to say excellent coverage, as the intended receiver was Dwight Carter. Dennis Weatherby was there with him step for step.
Dennis Weatherby is one of the best, if not the best, cover corners in the Pac-10. But there he may have been just a little bit too physical. Defensive holding will be an automatic first. It won't be the interference. Watch number 21. It depends on what the official. Now right there's the bump, clearly well past 5 yards as he impedes his progress. The official sees it, drops the flag.
Defense. 10-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage.
The Rainbow starting tailback, Afatia Thompson. He's number 5.
Weathersby's a great story, Todd. He got his big break 4 days prior to the opener. That's when Ricky Walker got injured. He dislocated his shoulder during a non-contact practice. Weathersby's been in the lineup ever since, and they can't get him out. He's played that well. On 2nd and 10 after the penalty. Robinson connects to Craig Stutzman. And Stutzman, if he didn't go out of bounds, cuts inside for a big gain. I thought he had stepped out on the far sideline, but he's across midfield and down to the 45.
Again, Steve, you've got a situation. We mentioned it early in the first quarter. It would come back to haunt them, and that's Darnell Robinson, the 6', 216-pound outside linebacker, having to have Stutzman man for man. There is the left of your screen, just an out route. He cuts up field, and right there, Steve, no, he didn't. Does a great job of tight roping the sidelines, breaking a tackle, and getting across midfield for the Rainbows.
Stutzman, his 4th catch, good for 50 yards. The honorable mention, all-WAC receiver, Craig Stutzman from Honolulu. On 1st and 10. That's Stutzman in motion. He'll head back towards the near sideline. And here's Robinson to throw under heavy pressure, and he'll go down. Jonathan Jackson on the sack. There is a flag on the field.
Jonathan Jackson is certainly the stud for Oregon State, their leading tackler with 84 tackles, 6 sacks coming into the game. He shoots the gap unblocked and is able to drop the quarterback. Face mask, though, is going to go against him. Certainly this isn't intentional, Steve. What happens is you get excited, you get in there, and if the guy moves a little bit, you want to have him in your grasp. Unfortunately, he grabs the mask. Dennis Erickson doesn't like it, but there were 3 flags, which would indicate it was pretty obvious.
And the Oregon State point system, Jonathan Jackson leads all active defensive players in their point system as you look at the face mask there and the grab. Clearly unintentional, but they have this system with points for block kicks and tackles and fumble returns, and Jackson again leads all active defensive players in that department.
And he was one of the players, Steve, that they talked about could play at the next level. As you can see, the duress in which Dan Robinson has been under, and we're not even at halftime.
8:20 to go in the first half in a 7-3 football game. Oregon State letting Hawaii hanging around. That pass behind the receiver who took a big hit. Channon Harris was in no man's land.
It also looked like Jonathan Jackson might have gotten a piece of that. You mentioned all the points that he had. Ideal physique for an inside linebacker. Reminds me a little bit of Singletary, although not as fast, obviously. 6 feet tall, 252 pounds. Great run plugger. And again, when your leading tackler does not have 100 tackles, Steve, that means one of two things. One is the fact that a lot of guys are getting involved, and two, you're not spending that much time on the field, which is a credit to the defense.
And apparently he's a durable guy as well, Todd. In his 5th year, he has never missed a single practice. Jonathan Jackson, you see the passing yards so far. Yet it's Oregon State with the lead. Here's Robinson to throw. Looked deep momentarily, and then came back to the short guy, Dwight Carter. And there is a flag on the play. Might have been dropped unless the defensive player got a hand inside.
It's a face mask grabbed by one of the offensive linemen to prevent a sack. Now, it'll be interesting to see of the variety of whether or not they want to accept that, simply because of the fact that they might be in field goal range. I don't know. Long kick is 50.
Face mask. Offense. 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. Still 2nd down.
Adrian Clem, the great left tackle for Hawaii. There it is right there. You can see he has a hold of the face. If he lets go right there, he's okay, but instead he's still holding on, pulling on it. The official has to call that. Again, it's fortunate that Ta'aina has flexibility in his neck. Otherwise, he'd be doing that exorcist thing, you know, with the head spinning around.
Clem was a blocking tight end last season before making the shift to left tackle. They hand it off on the inside to Avion Weaver for a nice size game. Terrence Carroll able to actually miss the tackle.
And one of the reasons why you got to give him the ball is you got to take some pressure off of Robinson. This is why you need to have a little bit of a running attack. At this point, Steve, the pressure has just been merciless on top of Robinson. If he's not getting sacked, he's getting knocked down. Very rarely have we seen an opportunity where he throws the ball and he's still standing. Again, you got to give a lot of credit to the Oregon State defense, prepared for all the variety of things that this Hawaii offense does under the very creative June Jones.
When we pointed out, he didn't come in exactly healthy. His shoulder's been bothering him probably the last 6-7 weeks, and he's still not 100%. Hawaii 0 for 4 on 3rd down situations. He's got one. Completed pass down to the 10-yard line. It's Ashley Lely, the freshman from Bellflower, California.
There's arguments as to what is the toughest throw for a quarterback. My feeling is the deep end, because you have to go over the top of the linebackers. Well, not only is it a tough throw, but that's where you really need some pass protection. And this time, that's what Robinson gets. He's able to stand in the pocket, buy his time, look left, look right, put the ball right on the money. Lely comes up and makes the catch. But that's a great job of pass protection by the Rainbows on that particular play, Steve.
On 1st and 10 now after the pickup of 24. Here's Robinson looking in the end zone. Had a man wide open and too high for Stutzman, who only goes 5'10". It seems like just about every pass in Stutzman's direction has been high.
And the frustration by Robinson tells it all. He bounces around. He had what he wanted. He has Stutzman on the slant. Take a look at the throw. He's got him wide open, overthrows it, and of course Robinson's reaction, no, no, no! He got the coverage he wanted, had the route he wanted, he just threw it a little bit high.
Robinson this season became Hawaii's all-time leading passer. 2nd team all-WAC this season. On 2nd and 10 now, on the 11-yard line. Out of the shotgun, they hand it off to Weaver again. Not much there. Bring up a 3rd down.
And Steve, this is where Oregon State was very tough last time. Coming into this game, Steve, the Oregon State defense has allowed only 8 touchdown passes all season. That is 3rd in the nation. And of course, under one of those lines about something's got to give, at least at this point, the Oregon State defense has not. They have defensed in the red zone against Hawaii very well.
You look at what the Hawaii offense has done with their 3rd down conversions. Not much today. Dennis Erickson told us the most pleasant surprise about Oregon State has been their defense this season. And they've shown some of that here today. Here's a 3rd down and 8. Here's Robinson with plenty of time. Throws complete. Touchdown! It's Shannon Harris, the sophomore, on the touchdown. His 7th touchdown of the season. And Hawaii takes the lead as this place explodes.
Great protection for the Rainbows, and again a mismatch. On Harris was the middle linebacker, Jonathan Jackson, who normally does not have wide receivers in coverage. Robinson able to buy his time and find the receiver in the back of the end zone and deliver the ball on the money.
Hey, lay out
Here's Eric Hannum on for the extra point attempt.
It's over.
And able to deal with the high snap and boot it through. Hawaii opens up a 10-7 lead after Dan Robinson leads an 80-yard scoring drive. The Rainbows by 3. 6:05 left in the first half. Hawaii jumps out on top. Here's Larry Beal.
All right, these Rainbows have gotten a shot in the arm. June Jones trying to build this program. A win in a game like this, certainly a step in the right direction.
You know, I'd like to get us into that upper echelon of teams. I think we can do that, and I think the timetable, you know, is 3 to 4 years down the line. But we're gonna upset some people. You'll be hearing about us back there in Connecticut or wherever the heck ESPN still is.
Yes, the worldwide leader headquarters still located in Connecticut. Hard hit on the special teams. Robert Prescott is dropped by Lonnie Williams for Hawaii, and that'll fire up the crowd again.
Once again, we had talked about the field position in favor of Oregon State all through the first quarter and early into the second. Now,
What's up, Mama? I love you.
finicky momentum goes the other way, and Harris is justifiably excited, beating Calvin Carlisle on the skinny post.
June Jones says we'll be hearing about his program. Well, they're hearing about him here in Hawaii. They just had a recent poll. 81% of the fans polled had a favorable impression of him. 2 were unfavorable, only 2% unfavorable. He's turned around his program and become pretty popular as Ken Simonton carries. And Simonton is a story, Todd. Just 1 carry in the second quarter leading up to that after a dominant first quarter.
I didn't understand that. I thought maybe Oregon State was trying to get a little too cute and go for the knockout punch early. And once again, Simonton coming out, I can't help but think that maybe there's something a little bit wrong, because after the first quarter that he had, and certainly carrying the offense on its back, you'd think he'd be on the field all the time at this juncture.
8 times over 100 yards rushing in a single football game this season, Ken Simonton. To Antonio Battle, checks in as clouds start to cover the stadium. The reception is made to Ermani Percoats, but it's a short gain to bring up a 3rd down.
Well, Hawaii up to this point, of course, we talked about their offense, but defensively they have struggled this year. You can see giving up 28 points a game. Now that may work in the WAC, but around the country that doesn't work particularly well. They only scored 29, which really shows, give them a lot of credit. With 8 wins and a gap between giving up and scoring points of only 1, they do a lot of the right things down the stretch.
The Hawaii sideline, the visiting sideline for this game, is going wild, urging the crowd on. The crowd really getting into this one. Completed pass from Jonathan Smith out to Percoats again, and it is good for a 1st down. Percoats is their big receiver, and now's the first time they've really gotten him involved in the offense.
46 catches coming into this game, but at 6'3" and about 210 pounds, he is another one of those big receivers that they want to take advantage of and give him a chance to use his body. If he'd have turned, he had some room in the middle of the field, but he wanted to make sure of the catch, so he sat down at the 30.
Percoats 8th in the conference in receiving yards per game with 68. There you get a good look at him, the wide receiver in his only year of eligibility at Oregon State. Single setback. Here's Smith to throw. Under pressure now, and he is caught from behind and dropped down for a loss. Matt Paul got him from behind.
Again, Smith able to buy some time, cut to the outside, and not get sacked for a loss. But McMacken and his troops are able to put some pressure, this time really only with a 4-man rush. Smith has no place to go, cuts to the outside. He is dropped, not for a loss, but for a minimal gain.
Paul has been good at dropping people for losses, second only to Ulbrich in tackles for losses and sacks on the season with 8 and 6 respectively. So they give him a pickup of 2 on the play. Simonton is back in the football game. Quick drop and the throw from Jonathan Smith is to Percoats again, and it's good for another 1st down.
Steve has 3 catches in this drive, and evidently Tim Lopano said, look, we got to get this guy the ball, because what happens sometimes to wide receivers, if they don't get the ball in the first quarter early on, they can lose interest. And then when you do go to them, they can either drop the ball or they're not as involved. Percoats gets downfield with the short hook route, gets the 5 steps, catches the ball, heads up field. As we pointed out, he is a big body to drop. 6'3", 200-pounder.
1st and 10. The Beavers on the move now, approaching 3 minutes to play in the first half. Off play action, nice seam across the middle to the tight end Martin Maurer, and I know you love that.
Well, I love that for a couple of reasons. First, I always get excited whenever a tight end catches the ball, but I certainly watched his father, Andy Maurer, who's a terrific guard for the University of Oregon and later with the Atlanta Falcons. Dennis Erickson pointed out that this young man was somebody they had to get the ball to more. Look at that average per catch, Steve. 20.3 per catch for a tight end. Wow.
That's the second best on the team, that average per catch. On 1st down again, a bit behind Percode, rather, I beg your pardon, Prescott, but he's able to make the grab.
Jonathan Smith is really hot, Steve. He is delivering the ball on the money, and now he has the Hawaii defense back on its heels. I had mentioned the fact that I didn't understand why they didn't keep going to Simonton. If Smith is going to be this hot, 5 for 5 and 53 yards in this drive, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
And the Hawaii defense, they've been on the football field an awful lot in this first half. They have kept the Rainbows in it and have enabled them to even take the lead. Here's Jonathan Smith. See how short-lived that lead is. Handing off to Simonton. Not much there. Mike Iosua able to make the stop.
It's always interesting to me, the ebb and flow of a football game. That first drive, it looked like Simonton, after that drive, was going to rush for about 250 yards.
Right.
Now here in the second quarter, he's got about 3 carries for about 7 yards. It just goes to show you can't predict. And again, Greg McMackin has done it on the next level. You pointed out he was the defensive coordinator for Dennis Erickson at Seattle. He's been around the block. He's a good one.
He said this is the most fun he has ever had in coaching, McMackin. It's the reason he came back to college ball. He's going to be a head coach next season. That pass incomplete. Smith had been hot. Looked like he overthrew his target there, but he was under some heavy pressure.
That's your guy Paul again. As you mentioned, 6 sacks coming into the game. He is the one that gets on Smith. Watch the end of the play, delivers the ball, hits him in the back, and of course what happens there, he stays with it. The ball is long gone, but of course in fairness to Paul, as Smith gets frustrated with him, he doesn't know that the ball's gone, so he wants to hold on as long as possible. And of course, I don't know of any quarterbacks at any level that appreciate getting hit at their legs.
Paul led all the Hawaii defensive linemen in tackles this season with 75 of them. Not bad for a defensive lineman. Coming up with about a minute and a half to play here in the first. Here's Smith, straight drop back. Has a man, had Percoach who just dropped it, and he would have plenty of running room. And Dennis Erickson told us this team has dropped more footballs than any team he has been around.
And they had what they wanted. They had a zone. Percoach comes across. The only guy that is close is Albrook, the middle linebacker. He's got to catch that ball, and he turns upfield. He has a long ways to go. Smith not very happy about it. Now, I'm surprised here, Steve. I'm thinking at the 30-yard line that they might go for it, because Seska has really had his problems. 0 for 2 at this point, and now a 47-yarder.
He's missed from 42. He missed from 31. Missed from 47 yards away, and it's blocked. Blocked by Hawaii. And the Rainbows will take over at the 40-yard line.
Inevitably, Steve, when you've got the longer kicks, it's a lower trajectory. And that's what happened. I'm thinking at this point that the kicker, Ryan Seska, is his confidence is absolutely shot now. 0 for 3. And, of course, defense and special teams has certainly done the job for Hawaii. How excited are they?
Sean Butts is the player who made the block, and Butts is interesting. We expected to see him at wide receiver some in this game, but instead of Treese Brooks was the player getting his catches, and of course Brooks was kicked out of this game earlier. So Butts makes the big play on special teams, and we'll see what the Rainbows can do with it. Here's Robinson rolling, able to make the pitch to Avion Weaver, and he's out to midfield to the 50-yard line.
That's the old shovel pass, Steve, and I'm surprised they were able to get away with it. It took forever. I'm surprised there weren't some linemen downfield. That's usually a quick throw. Nice pitch by Robinson. Gets the ball. Weaver breaks a tackle, gets a couple of yards. But I thought for sure there were some linemen downfield, but evidently not. First down for the Rainbows.
Hawaii only has 1 timeout left in this first half. Coming up at halftime, ESPN News will send you back there to the fine folks. Knicks and Pacers. Get you ready for the showdown. And the football game played earlier here, the Jeep Aloha Bowl. Here's Robinson. There's a flag on the field. Robinson thought about running and is belted down by Ladarius Jackson.
Great pursuit on the part of Jackson. That's going to be holding, and it's going to come back. But I'm guessing that they might want to refuse this simply because of the fact that they got a loss anyway. You don't want to give them another play with 44 seconds remaining.
Again, one timeout left for Hawaii. Leading 10-7. And really, Todd, a game they have no business leading in.
We're going back to the...
Dennis Erickson has to be frustrated because things were going so well for him early on.
Offense. On a pass play, beyond the line, 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, still first down.
Well, as I say, that's why I'm not in coaching. I would have thought you wanted to take the loss, which is about 3 or 4 yards, come up 2nd and 14. Instead, they want 1st and 20.
Dennis Erickson, of course, won 2 national titles at Miami, and he told us getting Oregon State into a bowl game is comparable.
I believe that. I believe that. At Miami, they expect to win. At Oregon State, after that amazing dry spell, I'm sure that he and his staff feel like this is quite an accomplishment.
Their first bowl season since 1964 for the Beavers. So here we go. 1st and 20 after the penalty now. Robinson to throw, and it is picked off.
His knee is down, though. His knee is down. Boy, is he frustrated.
Calvin Carlisle picked it off.
Calvin Carlisle was the man who got beat on the skinny post for the touchdown, and I'm sure right there he's saying to himself, nuts, if I don't drop to the knee, he goes to the house. Dan Robinson was frustrated with his receiver, who he felt ran the wrong route. He was waiting for a break. Instead, his receiver cut down the middle of the field. Carlisle over the cut underneath and make the pick. Watch number 32 in the middle of your screen. Just come there and get it right. As I say, he slides to make sure of the catch. If he doesn't slide to make sure of the catch, then he goes to the house. That's the 19th pick of the season for Robinson.
36 seconds to play in the half.
Let's say, in fairness, though, I say 19 picks, but that is from a team that has thrown well over 500 times.
Oregon State, we'll see what they can do in the final 36 seconds. And the Beavers have 2 timeouts remaining. Here's Jonathan Smith, who's at a fine quarter. Tipped ball and nearly caught and nearly intercepted as well. Anthony Smith was there.
Anthony Smith kind of playing the center field position, so to speak, is able to get a piece of that ball. Again, with the 5 wide receiver situation, as you mentioned, 2 timeouts. A great call here is the quarterback draw. You've got everybody spread out. You can run people up the field. Even though I realize that Smith isn't going to make anybody forget Cordell Stewart or Steve Young, he could still get upfield, get the yardage, call timeout, and get them in field goal position.
Again, 5 wide receivers, 3 to the right, 2 to the left of Jonathan Smith. Bit of a high snap. Smith able to handle it, and then he is handled. He is sacked down at the 43-yard line. Matt Paul got to him.
And in fairness to his left tackle, Smith actually leaned into that particular sack. Leaned to his left, and Paul is able to pick up the garbage.
3rd sack of the game by this Hawaii defense.
Jason White, the left tackle, actually was doing a pretty good job and didn't anticipate his quarterback was going to lean towards his side. And as soon as he did, he was able to get the sack, and now Oregon State forced to take a timeout.
Hawaii has been tremendous sacking the passer. They had 32 sacks this season. That's 2nd best in the WAC. But keep in mind, they only had 17 all of last season. So that's an area they greatly improved it. Nearly doubled their sacks. And there's a look at the left tackle, Jason White, for Oregon State. Actually, both of these starting tackles for Oregon State, last name White, they are not related.
And that's what he's talking about right there. He's frustrated with his quarterback a little bit.
On Monday, the ESPN Bowl coverage will move to the Pontiac Silverdome. It's the Motor City Bowl. BYU facing Marshall, and of course, the Thundering Herd led by their quarterback, Chad Pennington. BYU has not had a losing season since 1973. It's the Motor City Bowl. BYU Marshall, Monday on ESPN, ESPN.com, part of the Go Network.
You know how I am with bold predictions. I'm saying they're going to throw a few balls in that game. Chad Pennington, Heisman Trophy finalist, and of course on the other side, Kevin Federick, who had an outstanding season for Brigham Young as well. That should be an exciting ball game.
3rd and 13 now with 19 ticks remaining, 1 timeout left for the Beavers. Lights are on here at the stadium. And Jonathan Smith looking for someone. And he throws, got a man wide open. And it's complete down to the 11. It's T.J. Hashmanzada.
Jonathan Smith just pulled a Houdini. For all intents and purposes, he should have been sacked by Ulbrich. He was right in the arms of number 44. But he does the pirouette. He spins out. I tell you what, he may only run 5 flat, but he has some amazing escapability right there. And give credit to his lineman who's able to knock him off. Now he throws off the wrong foot, as you pointed out. Hashmanzada wide open downfield, able to get out of bounds, which is important because now with 9 seconds left, Steve, they have one throw into the end zone before they go with a field goal.
Hashmanzada, they tell us, is as healthy as he has been all season. That was a neat catch for 46 yards. On 1st and goal now, with 9 ticks remaining and 1 timeout. Quick throw, complete, and they say he's unable to get out of bounds, so the clock will run.
Someone has to call timeout.
And a flag is called. There is a flag thrown. Zeros are on the clock, and this will be interesting. I think there was a player on top of Jonathan Smith, and he was unable to call timeout.
Well, he was trying to do just that. You're right.
Correa was on top of the quarterback, Smith.
This will be interesting what the official says. They're all saying 2 seconds left on the clock. Now, even...
Timeout. Oregon State. Their 3rd and final timeout. Please put 2 seconds on the clock.
Not going to be a very popular decision for the home team and for the Rainbows, but it's the right decision. Now, here's the interesting point as you get a chance to look at it. Here's Smith. He throws the ball. He is stuffed. Hanging on top of him, of course, is Joe Correa, and he doesn't want to do anything with him. Now the quarterback, he's telling him, he's saying timeout, but the official doesn't see it. The official doesn't see it. He called timeout. There the official throws the flag. Now, when he throws the flag, he's not, has he marched it off yet? I think he marched it off, and he didn't say which way it went. Maybe he pulled the flag back. He called timeout, and the official did not see it. He did not see him calling timeout. Nonetheless, he gives him 2 seconds back. Now, that's right. They are going to call the personal foul, so that's going to give a couple of yards back. Excuse me. My mistake. The personal foul was against Oregon State. He's going to call that against Smith. Now, Seska, to add to this soap opera, Steve, has been atrocious here in the first half, going 0 for 3. A lot of pressure now on number 41.
That last one was blocked from 47. This will be from 37, and the Hawaii defense urging their crowd on. Nearly 50,000 on hand for this one. Ryan Seska to tie the football game at halftime. Kick is away, and this one is good. I gotta believe Seska, the freshman from Manhattan Beach, is pretty cool and confident. After missing his first 3, connects to give us a tie game at halftime. Here's Larry Beal.
All right, thanks, Steve. Coach, some crazy swings of momentum in the first half. It looked for a while like Oregon State was a play or 2 away from really taking control and perhaps blowing it out, but they missed 3 field goals, had the ball on your 15-yard line, unable to convert. Who knows what to expect in a 10-10 game right now?
Well, we kind of knew it was going to be this kind of game. I felt like if we could just hold in and get our kids get a little confidence, we'd have a chance to beat them. They're probably physically a little better than we are. We got to do a better job protecting Dan, but we can move the ball. We've proven it against them, and I think now the kids have a little confidence going in the locker room.
One of the things I know Coach Erickson was very concerned about was this turning out to be a Hawaii home game and the crowd involvement, especially in the second quarter. The crowd really became involved in this game, responding to defensive plays and the 1 touchdown. Your thoughts on enjoying a home field advantage?
Well, our crowd has been great all year, and you know, we put a lot of people in this stadium for this game, and they've been with us all year. Our crowd is probably this is as loudest stadium in general as any that I played in the NFL, and it is a very home field advantage for us.
All right, thanks, June. 10-10 at the half. Let's go back upstairs to Steve.
All right, Larry, thanks very much. It starts to get dark here in Hawaii. You've heard of reindeer carrying Santa. We've got Dolphins leading the way for Santa here in Hawaii at halftime.
This halftime report is presented by Jeep Grand Cherokee with legendary off-road capability.
Welcome back to a Aloha Stadium for the Jeep Oahu Bowl. We got a 10-10 game at the half. You know, I happen to be checking the newspaper this week, and some of the mainland temperatures, 9 degrees in Chicago. In Des Moines, Iowa, it got down to 3 degrees. In Milwaukee, it was 1 degree. It's obviously a lot warmer here. With that in mind, the Hawaii Visitors Bureau wants you to enjoy 60 seconds of paradise. If you're shivering right now, eat your heart out.
The island of Oahu, home to more fun and variety than any other Hawaiian island. Any family visiting Oahu will find an abundance of activities to wear out even the most energetic soul. Children can get up close and personal with exotic animals at the Honolulu Zookeepers program, or attend Splash University at Sea Life Park. For a different perspective of the aquatic world, go beneath the surface at the Waikiki Aquarium, take a submarine ride, or get wet and wild at Hawaii's only ocean park. On Oahu's North Shore, you'll find more than just beautiful beaches. Take a jungle trek at Waimea Falls Adventure Park, or find your way out of the world's largest maze at the historic Dole Plantation. Go trailblazing on an ATV, or enjoy a spectacular cliff diving show. And no visit to Waikiki would be complete without your own personal surfing lesson. If it's fun and variety you're looking for, you'll find it on the island of Oahu, where aloha begins.
Well, it makes you want to jump into the water right away. Joined by Marv Klein, who's the manager of Jeep Licensing. And, you know, it's very common now to have bowl sponsorships, but often they move around. You guys have been associated with the Aloha and the Oahu Bowl for quite some time.
Yep. In fact, we started this association 13 years ago with the Aloha Bowl, and then an addition of the Oahu Bowl, making this the first college doubleheader. And we're very, very pleased.
Let's talk a little bit about the nature of this being a doubleheader, because it is unique. You don't see it anyplace else in college football.
Well, you know, I think we give an opportunity for the different conferences to send their teams to paradise, as what Hawaii is, and it's good for our corporation as well.
You got a good game. 10-10 at the half. Marv, thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Marv Klein of Jeep. 10-10 at the half. From paradise. Checking out the sea turtles in the Pacific. We've got ESPN News coming up next.
When we drafted Tim Duncan, I invited him to my home to get ready for the season.
All right, Hawaii and Oregon State all tied up at 10 in the Oahu Bowl. They are at halftime, and we are on ESPN News.
Hello and welcome to those of you watching Oregon State and Hawaii in the Oahu Bowl. This is ESPN News, here to fill your halftime needs. I'm John Anderson. This man is Ian Page.
And we had another bowl today. Of course, Wake Forest taking on Arizona State in the Aloha Bowl. We got highlights. Hey, Santa is in Hawaii. Aloha.
Long
First
night.
quarter, it's a long night for St. Nick. Morgan Kane taking the handoff 26 yards down to the ASU 5-yard line as Wake would kick a field goal. They would lead 3-0. And then third quarter, 3rd and 5 from the 44. Ben Sankey, who was 13 of 22 for 188 yards. He's got his man Jimmy Caldwell, the coach's son, 56 yards on the touchdown. Wake up 13-3. Sankey, the game's most outstanding player. Fourth quarter, Wake driving. More Kane this time. He'll take the handoff, 22 yards, 83 yards on 21 carries for him. 1st and goal, so give it to the guy who brought you there. Kane up over the top, 2nd touchdown of the day for him. And Wake Forest wins the Aloha Bowl as the Sun Devils, of course, were hampered by a food poisoning outbreak the night before the game. They could only manage a 46-yard field goal as Wake scored 10 points in each of the final 2 quarters. Morgan Kane, whom you saw, rushed for 83 yards. J.R. Redmond did rush for 89 yards for the Sun Devils.
Those not bowling with their team individually, the Blue-Gray Classic, Montgomery, Alabama. First quarter, the Gray All-Stars down 7-0, but not for long. Off the kickoff, Kareem Larimore from West Texas A&M. They play all kinds of football down there in Texas. 99 yards, that ties it up at 7-7. West Texas A&M getting some pub. Fourth quarter tied at 22, the Blue driving. Western Michigan's Tim Lester, whoops, wants that one back. Picked off by Evan Howell of Oklahoma State. The poke kills the drive, sets up his team with a chance to win it. Jake Aarons, 22 yards. Never close. Wide to the right. The Blue-Gray Classic ends in a 22-22 tie. Kiss your sister. The Blue Squad, 10 more first downs. They had 10-minute edge at time of possession, 200 yards more total offense. None of it counts. It's still a tie. Iowa State's Darren Davis, the offensive MVP. Mike Green of Northwestern Louisiana, the defensive MVP. And there were more awards. QB Travis Brown, Northern Arizona, voted the Grays outstanding player. And Curtis Keaton, James Madison, honored as the outstanding player for the Blue Squad.
In the NFL, the Detroit Lions certainly like playing on holidays. They have already played on Halloween.
On Christmas in Hawaii, and they have everything here except the snow. Not going to have a white Christmas in Hawaii. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Score at halftime in the Jeep Oahu Bowl has Hawaii and Oregon State tied at 10 apiece. And welcome back upstairs. Steve Levy alongside Todd Christensen. Thoughts from Larry Beal again in just a bit. And first and foremost, Merry Christmas, everybody. So far, so good for Hawaii. All the numbers would dictate Oregon State should have a big lead. All but 11 of their plays have been in Hawaii territory. And yet we're in a tied football game.
Well, it isn't really that surprising, and that's because the Stars have really come through and done the things that they had done, but in separate quarters. Early on, Ken Simonton certainly dominated with his running in the second quarter. Dan Robinson was able to get together. Simonton behind an offensive line that was doing so well, catching and running the ball, getting out in the flat, making some people miss. His offensive lineman dominating the point of attack gets in for the only touchdown for Oregon State. Now, Robinson in the first quarter had better percentage, but it was in the second quarter that he was able to generate some yardage, going 6 for 12, 83 yards, and this touchdown throw to Harris. He has been outstanding there in the second quarter. And as you pointed out, the numbers up to this point show that Oregon State has been dominant. But as we pointed out, none of those things really matter except for the scoreboard. And up to this point, as June Jones pointed out, his young people are resilient, and I'm sure that in the second half, they will put on a pretty good game.
Oregon State had 3 field goal attempts they could not connect on. Another big part of the reason we're in a tie football game. We'll have the second half from Hawaii right after these messages.
Class university in the heart of the Pacific, the University of Hawaii at Manoa ranks among the nation's top public research universities, excelling in ocean and earth sciences, astronomy, and Asia and Pacific studies. It also has a top-notch athletic program. UH is committed to quality, diversity, and service. Excellent resources, dynamic faculty, high-caliber students. The University of Hawaii at Manoa.
Welcome back to ESPN's exclusive presentation of Circuit City Bowl Week.
Merry Christmas, everybody, and welcome back to the Jeep Oahu Bowl, a 10-10 game at the half. Coach Dennis Erickson, it almost seemed too easy for your guys in the first quarter. Everything was going your way, but you couldn't get that many points up on the board. Was it a sense of complacency, or the momentum totally changed?
Like the momentum's changed. We're not making plays when we have to. We drop a ball down here that would have been a touchdown, and we had opportunities down in there. We're not taking advantage of it. In a game like this, when you have opportunities, you better take advantage of them, and we haven't done that. So we're going to have to play a lot better on both sides of the football.
Ken Simonton, 65 yards on 10 carries and a touchdown early on. Didn't seem like he carried much in the second quarter. Is he okay?
Well, yeah, he's okay, and you'll see a lot more of him this half.
How about the crowd? I know you really were concerned about them being a factor in this game. They sort of feel like they are.
Well, we let them back in it, and that's what happens when you play here, but the crowd has nothing to do with it. We got to start playing.
Good luck in the second half.
Larry, thank you. Of the 65 yards that you mentioned, you see 58 coming in the first quarter. And Todd, we've heard unsubstantiated reports of some food poisoning. I know it was a problem with some of the Arizona State players in the early game here.
Well, in talking with some of the people from Oregon State upstairs, I said, you know, is this normal? Does he take these kind of breaks? They say absolutely not. He's a total workhorse, and so they were very surprised to see him come in and out. That may be the case, but certainly halftime, maybe getting a little B12, get something to drink. I'm sure we'll see that first quarter Simonton soon enough.
Dennis Erickson is just 4-3 in bowl games. He won his first 4 games, including the '88 Aloha Bowl with Washington State, but he's lost his last 3, the '92 Sugar, '93 Fiesta, and the '94 Orange Bowl. So he's looking to get back on track with a bowl victory. With the NFL season in its final weeks, get the lowdown on the playoff chase with NFL Countdown at 11 a.m. Eastern. 2 hours of NFL news, stats, previews with Chris Berman and his team of merry men. And at 7:30 Eastern, catch up on any action you might have missed. It's NFL Prime Time All the scores, highlights, and stories. That's NFL Countdown, NFL Primetime, Sunday on ESPN, ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
So, Steve, are you set for a St. Louis, Indianapolis Super Bowl?
That would be.
Isn't that amazing?
What a wild
What are the chances
season
of that?
it has been.
I mean, if you, again, not unlike this bowl game, if you'd have said that in August, yeah, right, St. Louis, Indianapolis, and here it is.
And then we will have our first dome team to ever win a Super Bowl.
2 of them. Yep.
Set for the kickoff of the second half here in the Jeep Oahu Bowl. We are tied at 10. And Oregon State will have the football first here in the second half. Robert Prescott from the end zone. Bounced off a couple of players, and he is dropped solidly at the 17-yard line. Dennis Erickson said, we see a lot more of Simonton here in the second half. And we await to see him trot on the football field.
Here's what they do is that a lot of teams do this now. They call the first play of the half from the sidelines and go right to the line of scrimmage. Boy, that first stanza at number 35 was all world.
Oregon State, during the regular season, they were 11th in the nation in total offense, averaging 434 yards per game. They look for better red zone production here in the second half. Here's Simonton on the right side, and he's able to push the defender, Shondell Tucker, out in front of him for a pickup of 11 of the first down, and a good way for him to start the second half.
Interestingly, too, you know, he cuts to the outside, and you mentioned Tucker. Now watch what he does. He's usually going to do a shake and bake. Now he just lowers the shoulder. Now look at the point of contact, how many more yards he gets. About 7 yards at the point of contact. He's able to generate that extra yardage. Again, for you young people at home, especially you parents who are saying, I don't know, you know, my son, he's just too small to play football. There's an inspiration for you, Simonton.
2 receivers out to the left. And they'll try Simonton again. He's got a big hole and another first down. Pickup of 11, back-to-back carries for 11 yards before Quincy LeJay brought him down.
Again, at the point of attack, you can see the interior of the offensive line. Fullback leads in. Look at that. Touch there at about 3 yards. I think that even Kenny Simonton would admit he probably should have got a little bit more out of that. The offensive line for Oregon State taking charge early.
If Simonton can come up with a 100-yard game, he would tie Dave Schilling with his 13th career game in Oregon State Beaver history. Jonathan Smith to air it out, and I'm not sure who his intended receiver might have been there. Roddy Tompkins wasn't anywhere close.
Shondell Tucker was on the coverage. He was not fooled by the play action fake. They tried to get Tompkins to the corner. He's their big play guy, averaging over 20 per catch. But not fooled in the secondary was Tucker with him stride for stride.
Robinson was much more effective in the first quarter, like Simonton, going 6 of 9 for 31 yards. Just 6 of 12 in the second half, but he did have the touchdown and the interception. Here's Jonathan Smith under center for Oregon State. First couple of minutes of the second half. Smith, under all sorts of pressure, is dropped down for the 4th sack of the game. Louis Fuga able to make the sack.
Looked like he had plenty of time to escape it. We saw him with the Houdini act there at the end of the first half. This time it appears if he just steps up a little bit, instead he just kind of panics a little bit, gets tripped up both by Fuga and of course number 70, Mike Iosua.
There you see the sacks. Fuga's an interesting story at 6'3", 305. In high school, he lettered in golf and chess. All right? You don't get too many defensive linemen go 305, but letter in golf, chess, and football.
Well, when
he's down in 17 now.
When he said checkmate, he meant it. This play's going to be dead. See, I wanted to use your line. I want to say checkmate, and I mean it, all right?
Cook looked like there was some motion and the flag on the play.
Well, again.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Imagine him sitting across from you playing chess. I didn't know you could have intimidation in chess.
Yeah, it's all good. Take my knight. No, it's good. You got it. You the man. No, move that queen wherever you like. Once again, to second guess the offense of Oregon State, Simonton running all over the place. They go to the air, and here they are, third and very long. They got to get across midfield, Steve, to get a first.
3 receivers to the left, 2 out to the right for Jonathan Smith. Throwing on the run, a strong throw, and he's very close to the first down. Hit Sean Kintner, the redshirt freshman, on a nifty grab. That was a nice throw on the run.
And Steve, that really is some poor defense when you have third and as long as you did, whatever it was. 22 yards and able to get it the first down. Great play by Smith to scramble out to the right and throw on the run, but poor job in the secondary. They're going to zone up, but it's kind of a lazy zone. As you pointed out, Kintner able to find the dead spot in the zone, goes up with that 6'3" body. And again, it's going to be fourth and very short, but a lot of confidence in that offensive line, Steve. I think they're going to go for it.
We were told about Jonathan Smith. He has outstanding management skills. He managed very nicely on that pickup. On 4th and 1, 2 tight ends. And they'll hand it off to their money guy. And it is Ken Simonton hurtling ahead for the first down.
So many times when you get the short yardage, Steve, that's when you could break loose. Simonton decides he doesn't want to take any chances. He's going to just jump over. Take a look, though, if he keeps his feet, Steve. The point of attack, again, the right tackle. Jensen does a great job. If Simonton keeps his feet and cuts to the outside, he might have gone to the house.
First and 10 now from the 45 for Oregon State. We're tied at 10. 11 and a half to play in the third quarter. And they give it back to Simonton. Not much there as Jeff Ulbrich came up to make the stop.
But interesting there, Steve. Ulbrich gets the stop. The crowd cheers. It's still a 3-yard gain. That means that the offensive line are moving the green shirts back. And I think that's what Dennis Erickson wanted to establish early here in the second half. He realizes that they might have been a little bit too cute there at the end of the first quarter and in the second quarter with the reverses and some of the misdirection throws.
In Oregon State, their offense, they seem to get better as the game progresses. They have owned the fourth quarter, outscoring opponents this season 131-40 in the final quarter. And that talks about the wearing down of the opposing defensive lines by this tremendous offensive line.
It'll be interesting, though, Steve, here in this particular heat and humidity, because obviously that's not an issue in the Northwest, as to whether or not that is going to be a mitigating factor for the Beavers later.
Off the play action, Smith wanted to throw, forget about it. He is dropped by Ulbrich, Mr. All-Everything in the defense for Hawaii. His second sack and the 5th of the game for the Rainbow Warriors.
Ulbrich, as you pointed out, a middle linebacker, normally is not a guy that gets a lot of sacks. When you come with more than they can block, Ulbrich able to take advantage. 8 sacks during the regular season, along with his 169 tackles, in addition to 15 tackles for loss.
Ulbrich in this game alone, 7 tackles, 2 sacks, and had a batted down pass.
And a partridge. It's Christmas after
Perfect. Here's Smith with a little more time. Now scrambling. It looks like he's tripped up, and there is a flag on the field.
Well, it appears that it's going to be holding, but right there, you know, I think he tripped over the 46. Certainly Hawaii will decline this one and force a 4th down.
Penalty refused. 4th down.
Take a look at Smith's feet. There's a little bit of pressure, but right there he steps on the back of White, and not unlike what you see in basketball sometimes, Steve, where a guy gets a rebound and lands on somebody's ankle and falls down. That's what happened to Jonathan Smith.
Got the ankle of the back of Jason White, as opposed to Mitch White, the right tackle. And they'll punt it away. Justin Colbert is deep, and he will run up to the 18 and look to get out ahead for more. Able to make it out to the 30-yard line. And that's where Hawaii will take over on 1st and 10 with 10 minutes to play in the third quarter of a 10-10 football game. Merry Christmas, everybody. two schools meeting for the third time in a bowl game. The 40 and 49 Pineapple Bowl, although those were just called bowl games. Officially, they were really just regular season finales. This is the first time they're hooking up in the postseason. Sixth meeting overall, and we are tied at 10. Playing the Pineapple Bowl. That pass is complete. Shy of a first down. Shannon Harris, who is pushed back a long way.
I'd say thrown back. And the crowd wanted a flag. But Carlisle says, nah, I'll lay it on him just enough.
Actually, I was joking about the Pineapple Bowl, but you did play here 5 times in the Pro Bowl.
Here's the slam by Carlisle. Ouch. He landed on his back on his pads. He'll be all right. No, I didn't play in the Pineapple Bowl, all right?
But the Pro Bowl 5 times.
Yeah, okay.
So you've played in the stadium.
Yeah.
Not bad. 5 trips, all expenses paid.
Me and Herman Wiedemeyer, we played in the Pineapple Bowl together.
Handoff. Inside handoff to Weaver. And he's got about 5 back. Sean Ball made the stop.
Threw a flag in the middle. Somebody threw a punch or kick. This is going to be a personal foul one way or the other. The flag came in very late.
It's been a rather nasty game. We had a player ejected early on.
Yeah, very foolish thing. Apparently this is going to go against the home
After
team.
the play was ruled dead, personal foul, offense. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
One thing the officials have been pretty good about here, Steve, is catching the face masks and the kicks and the punches. I mean, this crew has really been all over. Nobody's getting away with anything.
Robinson, after getting some instructions, looked to sort it out. It is first down. There's some confusion on the field.
There's some confusion as to whether or not it's 1st and 10 or 1st and 25.
First and 10 is what we're told now. And they'll go with that. Robinson from the shotgun. Moved to his right, faces pressure. Now to his left is dropped. Toalea Talatea able to make the sack.
Flag is down in the secondary. They might have some defensive holding. Oregon State made no secret of the fact that they were coming with the house on that one.
And if in fact it does count as a sack, it would be the first of the game for Oregon State compared to 5 for Hawaii.
We have a hold on the defense. 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. The penalty will result in a first down.
Now the beef that Dennis Erickson has is how can there be defensive holding when the ball isn't thrown? That's what he wants to know. Here it comes at the point of attack. There's just too many white shirts. And he has no place to go, but of course all of this was negated because in the secondary there was holding, and now Hawaii gets a pretty good chunk of that yardage back. 1st and 10 at the 39.
Sloppy start to this second half all around. 1st and 10 from the 39. I'm not sure Robinson has taken a single snap under center in this game. Robinson throws, might have been deflected, but it's caught anyway, and there is a seam for Harris. And he is brought down just shy of the 40-yard line. Look at the ball was tipped by Sean Ball, and they're still able to complete the pass for 19 yards.
Robinson does a great job of hanging in at 6'4", 220 pounds. We've talked about how many times that he's been hit today. He buys his time, buys his time, buys his time. Right at the last minute, he delivers the screen. And of course, that's a great job cutting up field and getting the yardage, but he's got to give kudos to his quarterback, Harris does, for hanging in as long as he did.
Sean Ball, they call him the rock in the middle of that defensive line for Oregon State. Got a finger or two on it, but still able to complete the pass. First down for Hawaii. And that pass again completed to Harris. Trying to find the sidelines, got another first down, and a flag comes late.
When I was playing with the Raiders, Kenny Stabler used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Of course, that could have been Bump Phillips, too. I just remember that if a play worked, he came back and did it again, but not necessarily one right after another. That's what happened there. They went with the flanker screen. It worked the first time and worked again, depending upon what the call is here from the official.
Holding. Offense. 10 yards. Spotted a foul. Still first down.
This is going to make for an interesting first down. So it'll be 1st and 6, 1st and 7. How many times do you ever see that?
Can't remember the last time, in fact.
Seems like an awful lot of flags have been dropped here in the last hour or so, isn't it?
It's in more than the first half altogether. And yes, it is the rare 1st and 7. Wonder what you have scripted for that. There you see the flags. That's for the football game. All even, just like the score on the board. And the inside handoff to Weaver. Stopped at the 30-yard line by Calvin Carlisle.
Again, this takes the pass rush off of Robinson. Make no mistake, this is the run and shoot offense. Weaver is not going to get 20 or 25 carries, but what he does do is he forces the defensive linemen to no longer pin their ears back, but they have to put their heels down a little bit and protect against the run. Weaver now 5 carries for 25 yards.
Weaver averaged during the regular season, Todd, 5.7 yards per attempt. But they don't go to him too often, as we pointed out. Only 54 yards per game average. As they send Harris in motion, then send him back to the near side. Here's Dan Robinson to throw. He's got a man wide open. It's Harris, the man in motion, still on his feet. Touchdown! Shannon Harris for the touchdown. 30 yards on the pass play from Dan Robinson. And Hawaii is back out on top.
Steve, as best I could tell, it appeared that there was a breakdown in the secondary. The defense came awfully late there. But give Robinson credit. He hung in there and delivered the ball right on the money. And Harris with a nice move at the end to get himself in the end zone for the 2nd time today.
Harris on that drive had 4 catches for 72 yards. And he gets the pay dirt. Eric Hannum able to connect on the extra point. And Hawaii able to own their biggest lead of the day. Dan Robinson, his 30th touchdown pass of the season. And Hawaii opens up a 17-10 lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 1999 Jeep Oahu Bowl is brought to you by Zocor. Talk to your doctor about Zocor today. And by Dremel, tools for the imagination.
No kidding, folks. Just seconds ago, this place was actually shaking. The chant of "Let's Go Bows." And Santa on the Hawaii sidelines. All smiles and giggles now with Hawaii up 17-10. We'll see for how long it lasts. Oregon State will get the football. Robert Prescott from his own goal line will cut it up near side. A terrific special teams tackle by Chris Garnier.
Steve, what happens is, for whatever reason, Harris is going to get lost to the right of your screen. He gets lost right there. There's the seam he's able to find. For whatever reason, the Oregon State defenders went into the flat. Harris all alone is able to get into the end zone. A breakdown on the part of Oregon State.
Harris came into the game 3rd on the team with 6 touchdowns. He's moving up that ladder. He's got 2 touchdowns in the game here tonight. Hawaii with the lead. Their defense has really been their strength in this football game, keeping them in early. And a drop pass. Jonathan Smith had the tight end, Martin Maurer, and that has been a bugaboo for Oregon State all season long.
We're talking about the number of passes that have been dropped, but Maurer had not been one of the guilty parties, but there clearly he wanted to run first and catch second. That's a ball that is a tight end. Hey, if it's a little bit behind you, slide, make the catch, let it go for 9 yards, come up 2nd and 1.
This Rainbow crowd urging on the defense on 2nd and 10 after the incompleted pass. They set up the screen, and they were looking to go to Simonton. And they just missed on the play. Lots of pressure there.
Well, they more than just missed, Steve. The flag is down. Jonathan Smith overthrew him by a large amount, and you can't say it's because he was 5'7", because he's been doing it all year long. But they had a receiver downfield anyway. But if Hawaii is smart here, they'll let it go. They've got the momentum. They've got the crowd. Make them come up 3rd and 10. Don't give them another opportunity.
The Oregon State coaching staff told us they were going to try to move Jonathan Smith around in the pocket, and kind of followed up. Well, why now? Why wait till now?
Downfield, offense, penalty refused, 3rd down.
They almost admitted to a mistake that, you know what, we probably should have rolled him out right and left earlier in the season. They were going to try to do it more here in the bowl game. Again, the size coming into play at 5'10" for the quarterback. This place is shaking, and I mean it. 3rd and 10 from the 14. Smith to air it out. He overthrows his man, looking for Roddy Tompkins, who might have had a step, but not much more than that on Flex Armstrong.
Steve, that's not what you want to do. Obviously, the Mauer drop was costly, but you do 3 and out inside your own 20-yard line. Now Hawaii is going to have the momentum. They're going to have people yelling, and more than likely they're going to have the ball possibly on the other side of the 50. Not a good series for the Oregon State Beavers.
Justin Colbert is at his 45-yard line. Mike Fessler is standing on his goal line to punt it away for Oregon State. Gets it away. It's a high spiraling kick. And the fair catch is called for by Colbert. And Hawaii will take over after the 45-yard punt. They've got the lead, and they've got the football here at home.
Welcome back to Aloha Stadium. The Hawaii Rainbows have the lead, but they do not have the services of their starting tailback, Apatia Thompson. He strained his Achilles tendon on the very first play of the game. He will not return. As an aside, when he's not playing football, Apatia is a fire knife dancer in a Waikiki show. His parents run a Polynesian review. He came in 2nd in the World Fire Knife Championships. Don't try that at home, okay, with a leftover Christmas wrap. It could be a little dangerous.
Wow, clearly he's a trained professional. Wow,
very talented.
The team's 2nd leading rusher will set it out the rest of the way. Avion Weaver, the team's leading rusher, and he is in the football game to the left of Dan Robinson, the quarterback. Hawaii with the lead and the football as the wind picks up here. That pass is complete. Able to hit Dwight Carter, and a good tackle there by Calvin Carlisle after the pickup at 12.
Now this shows the quality of the team that June Jones has. Carter, of course, has been their go-to guy the whole year. 77 catches, over 1,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns. But frankly, Steve, we haven't called his number very much. I'm thinking that might be only 2 or 3 balls that he has had. But yet the others have made up for it. Obviously, Harris, Stutzman, et al. Have had great games in his absence. They're certainly not a one-trick pony.
Carter comes in with a 20-game streak with at least a catch and 3 consecutive games with at least 1 touchdown catch. Looking for one here. They flip it out to the right side to Weaver. And he has a hole and some blocking. And Avion Weaver able to get down all the way to the 20-yard line after the sling pass from Dan Robinson, the pickup of 21.
Robinson this quarter is 6 for 6 with a touchdown and 105 yards this quarter. Well, he slings it sidearm, but your man Weaver is the guy that makes the play out in the flat, squares his shoulders, makes 2 men miss right away, and heads upfield. Obviously, Thompson is a loss, but Weaver is certainly the better runner and pass catcher, just not as good a blocker as Thompson.
1st and 10, Oregon State showing some pressure, and Weaver's not out of gas. They hand it off to him this time, and he'll pick up a couple. And the clock will continue to move under 5 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
Oregon State is now the defense that's trying to find some answers, because up to this point, they have been doing some good things. But of course, Robinson, as hot as he is now, has Willie Robinson, the defensive coordinator for Oregon State, struggling as to what to do. Because now with Weaver, they're running the ball effectively, and of course Robinson certainly has the hot hand.
The Beaver defense was 2nd in their conference in total defense. But they allowed 356 yards per game. That's 48th in the nation. It sounds much better when you just say second in the conference. Here's Robinson throwing, and some real good coverage on Craig Stutzman. Again, it's Calvin Carlisle, who's been probably the top DB for Oregon State.
Big third down here for Oregon State. They need to force them to kick a field goal. We mentioned the fact that Robinson had been quite hot this quarter. Really impressed with him. You know, when you think of the road that he has taken to get here, Steve, he's 25 years of age, served an LES church mission in China, was the quarterback on a team that was 0-12. Never in his wildest dreams, I can imagine, the offseason, even with June Jones coming in, could he have thought that he could be here playing as well as he is in this game on Christmas Day.
We mentioned in the open, don't want to gloss over, he broke 30 school records this season. Completed pass, again, a bit up high, just a bit, but Laley able to go up and grab it. The 6'3", 175 freshman receiver, Keith Hayward Johnson on the coverage.
And that's a great catch because that ball had some steam. Robinson just drills this ball, and it's a little bit behind Laley, but he's able to come up with it. Boy, that's a terrific hands catch. 3 catches for 39 yards for number 8.
The redshirt freshman. First and goal now for Hawaii. Pitch it out to the right side, and he thought about throwing it, Weaver, and then tucked it under for a pickup of maybe a yard or two. DeLawrence Grant came over to make the tackle.
Keith Hayward Johnson, the corner, was not fooled. He stayed with the back. That was designed, as you point out, to be a halfback pass. Weaver used wisdom there to say, look, it's first down, don't take any chances. I'm sure that's something that June Jones had said to him. If it's not there, just tuck it under and go. Johnson heads up on that play, not to be fooled in the secondary.
The son of a beauty consultant, able to make the pretty defensive play.
Hence the hyphen in his last name.
Exactly. Here's Robinson throwing, and he put it in there. A pretty good grab there. Laley again showing really good hands, and Hayward Johnson right there on the coverage, sticking to him.
June Jones says that this is a young man that's going to be a star in the future. You saw his skinny arms and skinny body. You mentioned he's 6'3", but right now he's only about 175 pounds. June Jones is anticipating that with some time in the weight room and the conditioning coaches, he should be about 195, 200 without a loss of speed and quickness. Then he could be a dominant wide receiver.
And that looked like textbook coverage on a 4-yard completion there. Johnson was just about attached to him. Brings up a 3rd and goal from the 4. Sends Stutzman in motion to the left. Looks like that's who Robinson wants. Got all sorts of time. Complete. There is a flag on the play.
Stutzman goes in motion here, Steve, and he runs a pick. He runs a pick, and I think that's what the back judge saw. This is going to go against Hawaii.
Carter went up to get it. The 5'10" senior brought it down, but there was no signal for a touchdown. And they're sorting it out on the field.
Watch number 2, Stutzman, when he goes in motion. Watch the route he runs. Just to the left of your screen, he runs right into the man right there. He runs right in and does not run a route. That's what the official sees. The touchdown is no good. That's an excellent job by the official. What you have to do when you're a receiver, watch, you can see number 2 just runs right into the man and has no intention of turning back.
Pass interference against the offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
So evidently they did not give Carter the touchdown, because in college football, for those of you that don't know, if he catches the ball, they can take him all the way out of bounds. It doesn't matter whether or not he would have landed. So now it's going to be a field goal, and June Jones doesn't understand that. He thought it was a touchdown. He wants timeout so he can talk it over with the official. Steve, did you see a signal of touchdown? I didn't.
No, there was never any signal for a touchdown. Absolutely not. So Hawaii will burn a timeout. Their first of the second half. We'll come back with this field goal attempt.
The big argument, of course, that June Jones had was whether or not this was going to be a touchdown. The official said it was not, and the result now is that Hawaii is going to be attempting a field goal of 22 yards, Steve.
Marty Aronoff, our statistician, pointed out you might be able to give Craig Stutzman a lesson or two on, on the old pick play.
I've heard about it. I've heard about it. Of course, I never practiced it.
Eric Hannum on to attempt the 22-yard field goal. Punter holding, and Hannum has got it. Able to boot it through. He is 2 for 2 in the football game. And Hawaii ups their lead to 10, 20-10.
The big argument that I was about to point out with regards to June Jones as to whether or not Dwight Carter came down with the touchdown. Certainly he caught it. Everybody knows that. But take a look at Weathersby, what he does. He's in the air, grabs his body, shoves him out of bounds. That's a great play by Weathersby because unlike the NFL, as I pointed out earlier, it's not where you would have landed. Weathersby does a great job. It's not a touchdown. Great job by this officiating crew.
So what did Stutzman do wrong exactly there?
Well, you know what? What I think he should have done was look back for the ball, but that's just a guess. That's my theory.
Sunday night, the Washington Redskins are in San Francisco to take on Jerry Rice and the 49ers. NFL action gets underway on ESPN at 8:15 Eastern. Then ABC's Monday Night Football, a matchup between the Jets and Dan Marino and the Dolphins. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive home for primetime NFL football.
Now, I'm going to tell you something about San Francisco. As you see, Weaver, who did a great job in this series catching and running the ball. Number 80, Jerry Rice, he's run a few of those in his time. I'm telling you that right now.
Hey, I gave you your props on playing here. 5-time Pro Bowl.
Yeah, Pineapple Bowl.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Here we go. Oregon State down 10 now. We approach final minutes of this third quarter. Here's Ricky Walker on the return, and yet another flag here in a penalty-filled third quarter.
Well, this one's going to come back. There were some big blocks in the middle of the field at the 20. Flag is right on the 20. Once again, Oregon State's going to have terrible field position starting out on their own 10. Steve, if you recall earlier in the game, it seemed like every drive that Oregon State had started at midfield because their defense was playing so well. Now here in the second half, their starting position has been absolutely atrocious.
On the return, illegal block in the back, on the receivers, 10 yards, spotted a foul. First down.
Well, boys will be boys. You can see right here coming down right at the end of the play. There's the push in the back. Just made no sense there. No reason for it. But again, not very happy with himself, of course. There's number 40, Isaac White.
Under 2 to play here in the third, the Jeep Oahu Bowl. And Hawaii, bit of a surprise here for 20-10. And they hand it off to Ken Simonton. Breaks around the right side to the 40. And he is angled off by Nate Jackson after the pickup of 43 yards by Simonton.
Now, Steve, here's my thinking. And that is that he took a long run. If he's tired, take a break. Put Antonio Battle in and do the same thing. Simonton now well over 100 yards as the blocking at the point of attack has been outstanding. 15 catches for 137 yards. Simonton shows the sweet feet, but as Dennis Erickson pointed out, not the fastest guy on the field. Here at the end, he realizes that, so he goes for the stiff arm, but nonetheless, he is dropped by Nate Jackson.
Simonton now needs just 59 rushing yards the rest of the way to take over the all-time Oregon State. That throw is off the hands of Roddy Tompkins. That pass was zipped in there, right there by Jonathan Smith.
Again, a little bit behind him, but a very catchable ball as Simonton putting on a show when he is afforded the opportunity. Steve, here we're with 1:26 left in the third quarter. There's no way that Ken Simonton should only have 15 carries. At this point, he should be at about the 25 to 28 carry mark with about 200 yards, but for whatever reason, Oregon State has gone a different way offensively.
Simonton missed 5 quarters in the middle of the season due to a rib injury. Otherwise, he might have been atop the rushing leaders in the nation a little bit longer. Antonio Battle giving Simonton a breather. He carries the football. Maybe a pickup of 1 on the play.
If indeed the issue with Simonton is food poisoning, that could explain the ins and outs, because 15 carries, he just can't be that tired, Steve. And he's a sophomore. He's a youngster. Come on.
Simonton checks back in. You know, we've been talking about the height ad nauseum, 5'7". Maybe the only drawback there is the wear and tear factor on a player that small.
Nah, come on.
All right.
Hawaii rush defense, we mentioned at the top, not very good. And once again yielding 149, but they're up 10 points.
On a key 3rd and 9 play, and that ball just overthrown, flat out overthrown by Jonathan Smith. He was looking at T.J. Hushmanzada, who goes 6'2" by himself.
Dennis McMacken came with the blitz, and Smith didn't quite have his poise. Dennis Erickson not very happy with his young quarterback. He needed to stand in there a little bit longer and make the throw. He wasn't able to deliver. And once again, the inability to run the thing. I mean, they run it well and go back to the pass. Jonathan Smith, 5 straight misses now, Steve.
And that puts Mike Fessler back in punt formation, standing at his own 41-yard line with Ricky Lumford back deep to receive. And Lumford fumbles the football at the 14, but he's able to recover, and another hanky on the field.
And let me say here, this is a great job by the blockers of the Gunners for Hawaii. They were able to get them out of the way of Lunsford, because if they couldn't there, that ball more than likely would have been recovered by Oregon State. Instead, he had a little bit of room, able to recover the ball himself.
I've seen just about enough yellow handkerchiefs to last a lifetime here in this 3rd quarter. And a good look at what one of those looks like up close. Actually, it's been a topic of conversation in the National Football League.
2 fouls on the play. We had a hold against the receivers. That penalty's refused. We have an illegal block in the back against the receivers. That penalty will be enforced. Spotted a foul, half the distance to the goal. First down.
And there's the block right there. That may have been the cause of the fumble, but that's one of those where you say, okay, you know what? I'd rather take the 10 yards than lose the ball.
And Todd, while we have had a ton of flags and penalties here in the 3rd quarter, that is not a knock on the officiating. It's a knock on the players. The officials have done a very nice job in this game.
Well, don't forget, both of these teams have not played a football game in over a month, and that certainly is a contributing factor to the sloppiness.
Again, Robinson slings it out to the right to Avion Weaver, and if he does not sling it, there's no way he's able to complete that pass.
That's the poise of a quarterback who's 25 years of age. He had Grant right in his face. He's able to get it around him, get some yardage, get him out of a little bit of a hole. Once again, a flag is down, and it appears, Steve, that it was roughing the passer.
More direction from June Jones, and now the call. Clock moving. Final 20 seconds of this 3rd quarter. Stutzman in motion. He comes back to the near side. And here's Robinson trying to set it up the screen to Stutzman, and that's off his hands, and probably a better play than if he caught it.
Very smart by the defensive lineman in that case. As soon as you get a jailbreak like that and you take off and your blocker is gone, you know right then that it's going to be a screen. Here are the comparisons between the two quarterbacks. Robinson, after a bit of a shaky start, has really come on. Smith, on the other hand, Steve, at one point was 9 for 11, which would mean he's 3 for 12 since. How's that for math? And again, unless they decide they want to have a full dose of Simonton here in the 4th quarter, Jonathan Smith is going to have to make some big plays for the Beavers.
Those folks upstairs here at the stadium just got their Christmas break. Actually, they said they want to be on SportsCenter, not on this particular broadcast, but maybe SportsCenter will use it. That pass looked like it was batted down at the line of scrimmage. And the clock shows zeros. And that is the end of quarter number 3. The Hawaii defense has really been the story in this football game, especially in the first half when they were able to keep the Rainbows in the game. And they've done some more fine work here in the 3rd quarter. Steve Levy, Todd Christensen, Larry Beal. And very nice.
I forgot, where do you live, Steve?
I live in the New England area. So don't try to look it up. And a big hello back to everybody watching in Boston. I did. I got to tell you, I called all my friends.
I bet you did.
I hope it's 10 degrees and snowing. Start of the 4th quarter.
Here's Dan Robinson throwing under pressure, and a tough throw would have been a great catch just off the hand of Dwight Carter under some heavy pressure by Darnell Robinson.
Willie Robinson is coming with the blitzes now, coming with 6 and 7. Here's Carter cutting it to the inside. Now he does the waggle, tries to get outside. Yeah, you know what? It's great that you're open, but boy, when your quarterback is running to the left, you got to go with him, Steve, because that makes it that much more difficult to throw, to come back against your body and put it on the numbers.
TJ Hushmanzada is standing at his 31-yard line. Chad Schrout to punt it away. Takes it off the top of the turf, and it will bounce in front of Hushmanzada. And it bounces up nicely for him and is able to collect it. And then knocked out of bounds. An official was belted down on the play.
And that was unfortunate, Steve.
No.
There was nothing intentional about it. What happened is that Sean Butts was trying to get to him. Hushmanzada was actually pretty smart. He uses the official as a shield, and he took a lick.
And you can see the blood,
bleeding.
yeah, on the side, right side. Paul Jones is the back judge. And he looked to be in some pain, although he was able to hop right up.
He bounced right up. He took a count of 8. He was hanging in there. Now watch what Hushmanzada does. Catches the ball. Now here comes Butts. He doesn't even see the official right there. Yep. Ooh, he clips him the side of the head with his face mask.
But he's tough. He's a football official. And we hope he's able to stay in this football game.
1, 2, 3. Johnny!
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 1999 Jeep Oahu Bowl is presented by Jeep Grand Cherokee with legendary off-road capability, and in part by PlanetOutdoors.com. Get on, gear up, get out.
Don't laugh. That's how we got to the football stadium today.
Oh, you said don't laugh. Sorry.
Larry Beal was driving the bus.
Jerome Bettis Beal? What?
Off the play action. Jonathan Smith to throw with time. And he overshoots his man, looking to go to Maurer, the tight end, again.
Says something about the defense. That's the first time misdirection. Hawaii had seen it as we get a chance to see how Paul Jones is doing.
So they're stitching him up, and he'll be back. Probably a big hockey fan. No problem at all. We mentioned this earlier. Oregon State has owned the fourth quarter, and they need to own it right now, outscoring their opponents by a long shot. Smith, the quarterback, if he's going to get some points on the board, will have to start connecting. He's missed his last 6. Nickel coverage in now for Hawaii. Smith has misfired on his last 6 pass attempts. And he'll put it on the ground to Ken Simonton. Why not? That is what's worked the best all afternoon for that Oregon State offense.
And so, Steve, there's a 6-yard gain. Now you come up 3rd and 4, and that gives you a lot of different opportunities of things to do. Simonton to the point of attack doesn't look like much, but he's able to push the pile backwards along with his offensive lineman, gets stopped at the 40-yard line, and as I say, come up 3rd and 4, 16 carries now, 143 yards for Simonton.
Look at that average. If I had a telestrator, I would circle that average.
Would you now?
But unfortunately, I don't have one. 2 receivers out to the right. And the pass is complete to Roddy Tompkins. Should be enough for the first down. Shondell Tucker on the tackle.
Flag is down again, however, Steve. Offsides against Hawaii. They'll let that go and take the play. As we mentioned, if that's 3rd and long or 3rd and 10 after an incompletion, they can't run a route like that. 3rd and 4, they can.
Offsides, defense, penalty resumed, refused, results in a play, first down.
And that's the first completion for Smith in quite a while.
He goes to Tompkins, who had started 40 of 44 games in his career. He started all 11 as a true freshman at the wide receiver position. And Smith might look to go back to him. Barking signals now at the line of scrimmage. Moves Simonton around, a little closer to his right. And loose football snap, but there is a flag. Robert Sykes motion on the offensive line. 18th penalty.
Right to the snap. False start. Offense. 5 yards. Still, first down.
Steve, we mentioned the fact that, you know, both teams hadn't played in a month. Well, okay, that excuse might work in the first and second quarter, but now in the fourth quarter, I don't think so. And again, Oregon State really struggling, as you see Paul Jones having utilized his cut men.
He's got the blood on his uniform and everything.
Oh, look at
he looks tough. He looks
mean.
mean.
Can't wait to tell the kids about this one.
Merry Christmas, Paul.
All right.
Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. From all of us at ESPN. Completed pass to Ermani Percoats, who has stopped at the 30, and Percoats is fired up, and he's trying to fire his teammates off.
And Jonathan Smith, just as we talked about how he'd been struggling, missing 6 straight, he puts this ball right on the money. Gets to the outside of the zone, throws it right between the 2 green shirts. Percoats cuts back, gets the extra yardage. Good effort by number 88, but Smith is the one that delivered that ball, Steve, right on the money.
Percoats, the big play receiver that goes for 25 yards. Oregon State had 54 plays this season of 25 or more yards, nearly 5 per game. They talk so much about the big play, and there it was for the Beavers. Simonton is bounced around after a pickup of 2. Louis Fuga got him.
One play that would be effective here, Steve, would be the bootleg now to fake Simonton, go wide side, and get your receivers cutting across the middle of the field. They ran it once, and it appeared that Hawaii had it covered. But if they were to do it again, that would be huge. Dennis Erickson, I would guess, didn't anticipate being down 10 heading into the fourth period.
The first Oregon State head coach to lead his team to a bowl in the first season, Dennis Erickson. He finds his team trailing by 10, 12.5 to play. This is 2nd and 9, and they're unable to hook up with Robert Prescott. Ball was knocked away by Quincy Leger.
One of the things that's happening to the young quarterback is Hawaii is coming up with 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. And I think that the young Smith is a little bit intimidated. He's throwing the ball a little bit sooner than he would want to. That time they came with a blitz. They had Ulbrich to the outside. And Greg McMacken is really causing some problems for the youngster.
Crowd starting to roar. Again, Oregon State officially the home team, but it can't feel that way. Here's Smith. He's got plenty of time. This time throws it nearly intercepted. In and out of the hands of Joe Correa, who is coaching staff. They called him, and affectionately called him, a genetic freak.
This makes for an interesting decision here. To see right there, he just couldn't quite come up with it. Poor throw on the part of Smith. A little bit of a debate here, Steve, as to what to do in kind of no man's land, 4th and 9, 8 and 9, as to whether or not to try a field goal or to punt. I guess they're going to punt. I don't like this. I'm thinking that you got to put some pressure. Go for it here. Give it a shot. You're down 10.
They are in punt formation. Fessler standing at the 46. And you see what he is facing. And he will boot it away. And it takes a bounce, goes off a player, and into the end zone.
Well, they had what they wanted in terms of the kick, but the player just couldn't get it down.
12-11 left in the fourth quarter. Hawaii doubling up Oregon State. Hawaii last season went winless under June Jones. They lost their home opener this season, 62-7 against USC, and then went into another game where they finally got a win.
Well, it was way more than I imagined. There was tears, there was crying, there was guys, you know, with their, you know, on the field, on their knees. You know, I mean, it was a very, very big burden off their backs.
And it was in that second game, Todd. It didn't start out well for June Jones and Hawaii. They had a kick return, looked like they were going for a touchdown. Kid fumbled the football. Then Eastern Illinois took over with a flea flicker, and already they were down 7-0. But they were able to pull out that victory. And that started going on what has been a tremendous season, win or lose, for Hawaii. Avion Weaver on the ball carry there, bouncing off tacklers before he was brought down by Jackson and Carlisle after a pickup of a few.
Should have had a tackle. Should have been tackled right at the line of scrimmage for no gain, but Weaver showing his strength, spinning out, picking up 6. I tell you what, even though his numbers are not large coming into this, Jonathan Jackson needs to make the stop. He breaks off of him, and then once again he breaks through a couple of tackles, Carlisle being another one. Weaver having a tremendous second half. 8 carries for 37 yards.
2nd down and 4. The clock, the Rainbow's friend right now. Off the play action, little swing pass to Weaver out to the flat. He's out of the 40, and he is thundered over out of bounds. And you see they spotted at the 49-yard line. Ricky Walker got him pretty good, but only after a pickup of 24 yards.
Here's the creativity of June Jones. Misdirection, a play that nobody has seen the entire day. We were able to sneak into the flat because the direction of the play was going the other way. Oregon State completely fooled, and Weaver having himself a tremendous second half.
You see the passing yards, the big edge for Hawaii. How about the effectiveness? I don't think Robinson has missed on one pass where he slung it sidearm out there.
It's a Bernie Kosar thing. He's been looking at all the films.
Well, Kosar did that all the time. And it's Weaver again off the misdirection before Carlisle brought him down. Missed tackle on the play by DeLawrence Grant. Another missed tackle.
5'10", 221 pounds, and he's complaining about, wasn't that a face mask? He says, nah, I just got a little piece of it. Hang in there. What a great physique for a running back, and hence the reason why you can see the number of tackles missed. I think that he might be the full-time back if he gets a little bit better in pass protection. I think that's the reason why Thompson is in there, because he's a bit better blocker, but clearly Weaver, a tremendous talent.
Weaver last year in a completely different offense actually started 4 games at the fullback position, and in his 12 games as a freshman played the blocking back position, but here an entirely different offense. And here's Robinson to throw over the across the shoulder, and there is a flag on the play. Robinson gave you the full motion on that throw.
That ball came with some juice.
Harris, the intended receiver.
Holding. Defense. 10 yards. Line of scrimmage. Automatic. First down.
Downstairs to Larry Beal.
Hey, Steve, we've been talking about Dan Robinson, the unusual throwing motion. That's not the only thing that's unusual about him. 25 years old, married, has 2 children, speaks Chinese fluently, which could make for some interesting audibles. He's planning on a career in medicine, although our own draft expert Mel Kiper Jr. thinks he could be a backup quarterback in the NFL because of that accurate arm.
Where did Mel have you, Todd, coming out of school? What was that?
He had me left out.
Well, the 18th round. The NFL draft was 18 rounds back then. Locked pass, batted away, nearly picked off by Talatatania.
Coming off the line of scrimmage there, he backs up from his defensive end position. That's kind of the zone blitz that everybody finds popular now. And as a result, he had an opportunity for an interception. Couldn't come down with it.
Bring up a 2nd and 10 off the incomplete pass. 10:23 left here in the 4th.
Talataina knows that was a great opportunity on national television to get a turnover and get his Beavers back into this thing.
20-10 in favor of the Rainbows. Inside handoff out of the shotgun to Weaver, who's been the workhorse here in the football game. Darnell Robinson got to him. The clock continues to move.
Again, Steve, almost a gain of around 5 yards. And again, that puts you in a situation, 3rd and very makeable. Don't force your quarterback to sit back there 3rd and 10 and have to deliver a perfect strike. Here coming up 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. He can throw one of the underneath routes and let somebody get it. Flag is down. I believe that there was an illegal substitution, Steve.
Hawaii has been given a sideline warning. Hawaii sideline warning.
Well, now, why the flag? The flag was dropped.
Now, of course, that is not Hawaii's normal sideline, but that is no excuse. They are on the visiting sideline here today. They're not used to that sideline, Todd.
Yeah, that's that whole green and white thing on the field can be really confusing.
Absolutely.
I understand.
There's a big difference from the home sideline to the visiting sideline.
Let me explain something to you that you may not be aware.
All right.
In hockey, there are different arenas and different distances. Football, it's the same. Weaver, 44 yards, but they have come at some very crucial times, Steve.
Actually, in hockey, no longer. All the arenas in our uniform, Tom. Thank you. Weaver spins away, and he is brought down at the 30-yard line. Weaver should be at about 50 yards rushing, and he's over 60 yards receiving.
Well, that's a big run right there, because for all intents and purposes, that should have been tackled for a loss and taken them completely out of field goal position. But I'm thinking here that they're going to go for it. June Jones is sitting there. That's going to be about a 48-yard kick. His man has never even been close to that this year. I believe as long as, excuse me, he has a long of 50. But
he has,
certainly,
right.
I was going to say, he certainly needs to trust his quarterback here. Robinson hustles out, calls timeout, and says, let's talk it over. This is a very big play.
After the timeout, Hawaii only has one left. Right now, that's okay. They lead by 10. The Beavers are back bowling for the first time in 35 years. Right now, they're on the wrong end of this score. They're at the Jeep Oahu Bowl. 8:50 to play in the fourth. This is a key 4th and 3 for Hawaii, trying to keep the drive alive. Stutzman in motion. And here's Robinson. He's got a lane to throw, and he underthrows his receiver, Stutzman. There was a defensive lineman, maybe got in his line of vision.
Let's give Ricky Walker credit. Stutzman goes out, and he's got him man for man. Stutzman, if he makes a little bit of a move to the inside, might get open, but instead, here comes Stutzman, and there's Walker. Chucks him right at 5. Stutzman cuts to the outside. You can see he gets a little bit of a pull on his jersey. Nonetheless, Robinson just didn't deliver the ball there, Steve. He had an opening, just couldn't do it. Now, a break for the Beavers, who need to take advantage of it here with 8:46 remaining in the contest.
Again, we showed you earlier how dominant Oregon State has been on offense in the fourth quarter. And we have yet to see any of that in the first 6.5 minutes or so of this fourth. And see if we see it here. They line up quickly. They open up in a 5-wide receiver set with Jonathan Smith all alone in the backfield. Hawaii showing blitz. Now they check out of it. Here's Smith under pressure, gets around the end rolling. Flag on the play. They're able to complete the pass to Percoats. But again, the flag. And it will go against the Beavers.
Vincent Sandoval, the right tackle, had a piece of Joe Correa, and that's what the officials saw. Correa tried to spin out, and Sandoval wouldn't let him. When you do it right in front of the referee, he's going to see it.
Holding. Offense. 10 yards. Spotted a foul. Still first down.
Here's Correa with his back to you. Almost gets the quarterback, but there you see it. Oh, that's a takedown. Easy call for the official.
Should Oregon State lose this football game, they'll cite a lot of things and problems and mistakes, but that'll be one of them. 12 penalties for 126 yards. That's killed them all game, but especially in the third quarter. Here's Smith to throw. Able to complete, not anywhere close to a first down. Hits Robert Prescott underneath.
To say that Jonathan Smith is streaky is an understatement. Remember earlier in the game, Steve, he hit 5 in a row and then missed 8 of the last 10. Now he gets this completion. He certainly needs to get hot for the Beavers here on this series.
The upside to Smith, he's only been intercepted 1 time in the 5 games coming into this. He doesn't make mistakes in that game. He's looking to get on a roll. That one nearly picked off. It was knocked away nicely. Roddy Tompkins was the intended receiver. Lejay got there. Quincy Lejay, who has 7 interceptions, 3 of which he was able to run back for touchdowns this season.
Oregon State's possessions in the second half in particular have just been awful. First possession, the big drive that we saw, and as you pointed out, Steve, it appeared at that point that Oregon State was going to blow them out. In the last 10, they've only been able to come up with a field goal. Of course, that also includes 3 missed field goals.
All in the first half. Clock starting to become a factor. 7:46 left. This is a 3rd and 16. They pick up the pressure, and they go for the big one, and they had a man. Tompkins was ahead of the coverage, but Smith just threw it a bit too far.
Had what he wanted. Had the man-for-man coverage. Tompkins had been their big play guy, over 21 yards per catch. He had Tavis Campbell beat, but Smith just couldn't put it on his hands. Just a little bit too long. How frustrating when you're this open and you just can't quite come up with it. Shondell Tucker, rather, was the man in coverage.
Tompkins had a 69-yard touchdown catch against Stanford. And he would have been able to blow that personal high away. Unable to catch up. Mike Fessler to punt it away. Justin Colbert catches it at 37. Now starts upfield. I think he bumped into his own blocker. And he's brought down at the 47, and that's where Hawaii will take over. Jake Cookus able to make the stop on special teams and some extracurricular activities after the tackle.
And of course, that figures at this point. Frustration setting in for Oregon State. A 10-point favorite coming into this game, Steve. I think a lot of people felt that now the Beavers are just going to be a lot more physical. And certainly June Jones, as well as the other coaches for Hawaii, told their players that. And that became the proverbial billboard material. Hey, the other team thinks they're going to run us over. They're tougher, yada, yada, yada. Well, certainly at this point, Hawaii has risen to the occasion.
I wondered if Oregon State might fall into the trap of, hey, we're just happy to go to a bowl game for the first time in 35 years. Dennis Erickson told us their first goal really was just to have a winning season finally after 28 consecutive losing seasons. And their second goal was to make it to a bowl game, and here they are. Inside handoff, keep it on the ground, keep the clock moving, and it's Avion Weaver, who's had a very strong game. Ladarius Jackson brought him down, but not after a healthy game. And what's up for grabs? The Jeep Oahu trophy to be awarded to the winner of this game.
And this is going to be a pretty noisy place if the score remains the way it is, Steve.
Town figures to be just a bit jumping tonight.
It'll be rocking on Christmas night.
Hawaii be able to hang on, and they look to be in good shape. Under 7 to play now. Hawaii by 10, and in a good spot on 2nd and 1. Oregon State does have all 3 timeouts remaining. And again, they keep it on the ground. Weaver, not much there. The clock will continue to run. Jackson got him again.
Good stick there, too. It appeared that he was just going to be a gimme first down, but Jackson reaches up, gets a piece of him, knocks him backwards, and now it's going to be 3rd and very short. You made a very good point about the fact that very rarely has Robinson been under center in this game.
I'm not sure he's been under center once. Not even a single play. If you can recall it, I have better memory than I do.
I don't know about that, Bill. Nuts. Guess what?
Hey, look at this. Oh, sure. See, June is plugged into ESPN. And he didn't know where ESPN was, but he's listening to the broadcast. Big gain off the right side. Again, it's Weaver before Carroll could take him down.
This has been very unrun and shoot like here in the 4th quarter, but again, you got to give credit to Weaver. But let's also give some credit where credit is due to the right side of the offensive line. Particularly, you can see Noah takes 2 guys out, enabling Weaver to get to the outside and get the extra yardage.
Look at the yardage for Weaver, and again, he can thank that offensive line. An offensive line that is really pass protected well, allowing just 1 sack every 24 pass attempts.
Is this another sideline warning? Man, oh
Oregon State sideline warning.
Come on, you're trying too hard. It's the 4th quarter, 5:46 left. Let's play. Even Dennis Erickson says, come on, give me a break.
All right, so tell me, what do you get a sideline warning for? Is that conduct? Is that stepping across the line? Is that, what is it?
I think that's questioning the genealogy of the officials, their heritage. That's what happens.
I see. That's not like being stepping on the football field. It's more than that. Each side now has a warning. Weaver will stay on the ground. Moala able to make the stop.
Good pursuit from the backside, and I'm pretty sure, Steve, that's the first time that we've seen Weaver tackled for a loss. Moala is able to get him, and the thing here is that, but at this point, it's not as consequential as the clock is bleeding down, soon to be under 5 minutes. And that man, Jonathan Smith, has to be frustrated on a lot of different levels. Had his opportunities, had some deep balls, made some amazing plays. Remember that one at the end of the first half where he spun out of about seemingly 6 tackles to get the ball downfield and set up that field goal.
Okay.
2 times they've had over 500 yards offense for Oregon State. That's not going to happen today. Pressure. Robinson steps back and completes to Dwight Carter. And Carter will cut inside for some extra yards. Another first down.
Robinson very fortunate to be able to avoid the sack, and Carter cuts back against the grain, does not pick up any extra yardage, but he buys some time. Or rather, he actually took some time off. Take a look at Robinson as he just missed on the sack coming in as Micah Moore. And here's Carter downfield, begging for the ball, makes the catch, should have stayed to the outside, cuts back anyway, and even though he didn't get any yardage, as I pointed out, took some seconds off the clock.
Yeah, not a first down, as I pointed out. Brings up a 3rd down and 8. Under 4 to play here in Hawaii. You see the 3rd down conversions, and they look to convert here. Weaver pulling his way through people before Carroll, a strong safety, had to make the stop. And normally, your safety makes the tackle. They've already gotten plenty of yards, and that, in fact, is a first down.
Well, Manly Kanoa, the right guard, is able to create a gap. Watch number 76 pulling out. That enables Weaver to cut a field. Now watch Carroll right here go for a ride. The forearm comes underneath his armpit. Weaver has certainly been the star here in the 4th stanza, Steve.
Weaver has 82 yards rushing, 70 of those, Todd, coming in the 2nd half. The junior has just one 100-yard game to his credit. He rushed for 125 yards at San Jose State, but he's back at it again before DeLawrence Grant brought him down, and now Weaver looks to be a bit banged up.
Why not? In that one-back offense where the other guy, Thompson, has been out, and Oregon State now takes the timeout with 3:13 remaining.
Oregon State figured to have the star running back in this game, but not the case. Albion Weaver has done it for Hawaii. Steve Levy, Todd Christensen, hope you're having a great Christmas night. Hawaii is so far leading by a score of 20-10. And let's go downstairs to, again, Hawaii's favorite son. That is Larry Beal. Larry.
Well, thank you very much. Coming up on SportsCenter right after the game. SportsCenter is next. You know, no ka'oi means the best. I got to work on the spelling with these guys. B-E-I-L. Okay? B-E-I-L. Anyway, thanks very much. SportsCenter coming up right after the game. It's Millard, Simon, Indy. The big men battle, Shaq versus Duncan, and the Broncos play Scrooge. B-E-I-L. That's the way the checks are supposed to be written. Thank you.
Is it just me, or is Hawaii's favorite son, his friends, not altogether literate? What's up?
You know, Larry's been telling us back at the Worldwide headquarters the big stories. Oh, I was a big deal in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
And there he is. They can't even spell his name right here.
Of course, come to think of it, they probably misspelled Don Ho too. So
you know, usually I spell my own signs and then distribute them to the crowd. Obviously, that one wasn't mine.
That's great.
Larry, the former voice of the Rainbows. Here's the throw from Robinson, well behind his target. And he was looking to Weaver, who got belted for good measure by Darnell Robinson. Bring up a 3rd and 9.
I'm thinking the Weaver's got to be really excited here, Steve, besides the obvious, but I'm talking about in terms of playing time. You know, not being the starter, questioning whether or not you can block, different things. Finally getting the opportunity to show your wares on national television against a quality Pac-10 team and do as well as he has. Over 140 yards in total offense, running and receiving. Great game for number 20.
This will set him up for a nice senior season. The junior from Sacramento, California, and flags fly. Hawaii's held the ball for 4 minutes and 20 seconds on this drive.
Delay a game. Offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
The last thing Hawaii wants to do is delay this game.
Especially after an incomplete pass. The clock doesn't run, man. Now the play clock is running. They need to reset it. Now it's at 25. Here I'm thinking that they might as well call the same play. Hand off to Weaver, get him in the middle of the field, or the hash mark that Hannum prefers. Let the clock continue to run, kick the field goal, go up by, nearly 2 touchdowns.
From here, a field goal attempt would be 35 yards. They give it to Weaver, just as you suggest. And a quick call for a timeout by Oregon State. And they have just One timeout left. Hannum's field goal attempt when we come back. Here is Eric Hannon on to attempt the 35-yard field goal, and it is good. And they'll celebrate some more here in Hawaii with 2 minutes and 58 seconds to play here in the fourth quarter, and Hawaii has opened up a 13-point lead. We told you it's been 35 years since Oregon State was in a bowl game. Well, it hasn't been nearly as long for Hawaii, but still there's been an absence. Got to go back to the 1992 Holiday Bowl, where Michael Carter was able to hook up with Derek Branch for 53 yards in the score. The Rainbows took care of Illinois 27-17.
I'm thinking that this particular window has to derive a lot more satisfaction. I know that was very exciting that year for Hawaii. I believe they had 10 wins that season. But to come off of 0-12, you know, arguably the worst, I mean, really, let's be honest, arguably the worst team in Division I football last year, 118th out of 118 teams in offense. June Jones comes in, did what he did. Now, in fairness, obviously, Fred Von Oppen's players, a lot of the people that he had recruited, but he implements the offense, the defense playing well, and certainly at this point, Steve, would appear to end on an amazing note. 9 wins and a bowl victory. Just unbelievable.
June Jones certainly has to help recruiting. The fact he's kind of a Hawaii guy, a player, former assistant coach here. But players want to play in this offense, I got to believe. Wide receivers and quarterbacks, absolutely. Why wouldn't you want to play in this offense? And even offensive linemen. As the kick is nearly fumbled, but recovered by Robert Prescott. And a good second effort by Prescott to get it out to the 19-yard line. ESPN's bowl coverage will continue on Tuesday with the Sylvania Alamo Bowl, featuring the matchup between Chopa's Penn State Nittany Lions and the Aggies of Texas A&M. The 30th time in 34 seasons that Coach Paterno has led Penn State to a bowl game. Penn State, Texas A&M, the Sylvania Alamo Bowl, ESPN.com, a part of the Go Network, go.com.
Yeah, well, what's he done from the other 4 years? Huh?
Exactly right. Oregon State will see what they have left in the tank with 2 timeouts and 2:47 on the clock. Here's Smith to throw, and he found a seam with 3 or 4 green shirts around his one receiver, Robert Prescott, able to make the catch for 14 yards.
Now, here's the thing that's maddening if you're the offensive coaches for Oregon State. You see Jonathan Smith make a throw like that, and you say, man, this guy's got a future. He's going to be great. And then turn around and miss 6 in a row when you got guys wide open. But youth will be served. And don't forget that there are 8, as the ball gets batted away, there are 8 returning starters on offense for Oregon State, so they're not going away anytime soon. I think Dennis Erickson really has something good established there in Corvallis.
Matt Paul able to knock that pass away.
Both Smith and Simonton, Steve, are sophomores. A lot of great games ahead for them.
Oregon State had a record season in a number of ways, had a record attendance this year at home, better than 32,000. So really looking at 2 programs that are definitely on the upswing here. And that pass is dropped by Maurer, maybe his 3rd drop of the game, the tight end.
And once again, Smith with a nice touch there, delivers the ball right on the hands. It's a ball that Maurer needs to come up with.
Drops and penalties have been big problems for Oregon State.
And really that's surprising, Steve, because in this day and age of contemporary football where you spend so much time on the passing game, that should be one of the better parts of your game because that's something you can do year-round, quarterbacks and receivers. But Oregon State this year has really struggled with their receiving core.
As Larry Beal, B-E-A-L, pointed out, SportsCenter is coming up next. Jonathan Smith.
But this play will be dead.
Dropped.
Steve. Offensive line moved.
LeJay will not get credit for the sack.
I'm trying to think. Is that the same spelling? Jennifer Beals, right? Doesn't she have that spelling?
I don't think there's any relation.
Right to the snap.
Really?
False start. Offense.
But I think it's B-E-A-L, right?
Bill, 3rd down.
I mean, they're both kind of flash dances, huh?
Bring up a 3rd and 15 now.
Well, if it makes Larry feel any better, Christensen has been spelled I don't know how many different ways.
Well, they always get Levy right.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
4 letters, nice and short, right to the point. Boom, 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 boom. 3rd and 15 now. Getting 2 big scores is Oregon State. Here's Smith. Got some time. Found a man. He's got Prescott. Complete. And he'll get out of bounds at the 42. And I'm sure they're saying back at Oregon State, where's that play been all game? Pick up a 30.
Now, part of the reason it was so effective is Hawaii opts to rush 3 guys that time, and that gave Smith plenty of time to sit back and watch. Here come the 3 rushers. Plenty of time. Sits, drills the ball right on the money to Prescott, able to break a tackle and get out of bounds and buy some time. But again, there's Smith with the good arm, putting it right on the money.
1st and 10 now. Two receivers out to the right. Smith will step up with some time, and nearly a Prescott who is destroyed. Robert Prescott is blown up as he has his helmet and mouthpiece knocked from him. Looks like Flex Armstrong, the perfect name for a hitter like that, made the big stick.
I played with a free safety with him at Jack Tatum that used to deliver these kind of hits. Ouch.
Oh, man.
Boy, oh, boy. There's nothing dirty, but I would say it's a little vicious. I'll tell you right now, though, Steve, in the NFL, Flex Armstrong just lost 20 grand.
That's a blow to the head.
Yep.
With your helmet, leading with your helmet. Under the pressure, they set up the screen right, bit too far for Simonton.
And the screen was set up. If Simonton's able to catch that ball, there was one guy to beat. He would have easily had the 1st down. But again, we haven't called his name much here in the 4th quarter as they've fallen behind him and forced to throw. If he stays healthy, what are the chances? Another Heisman in Corvallis in 2001? What do you think?
3rd down and 10 now. Here's Smith. Steps up and fires, and it is complete across the middle. That time to Monjero Jones, I believe the first catch for the junior all night.
And of course, the clock stops. As fans are well aware in college football, once they get the 1st down. So if Oregon State can get the ball in the end zone here, they'd have a shot. But an onside kick, and maybe, who knows?
And 1 timeout remaining for the Beavers. Here's Smith. And out of bounds, Roddy Tompkins.
Tompkins didn't hold on to it.
Incomplete pass.
I don't know who the saddest guy is in the stadium, but that's certainly one of the top 5 is my guess, along with parents. Dennis Erickson certainly thought that his Oregon State Beavers are going to play better than they did today. But after the first drive, it's been pretty much downhill, Steve.
And Oregon State, they travel very well. I mean, all the people were really excited. They said they had better than 10,000 people making the trip out here to Hawaii. And it is a trip. But a trip well worth the effort. Throwing. That one is complete. Made the move to get an extra yard or 2 per coach, but let's get out of bounds.
It's a good idea. He spun to the out because everybody's thinking, yeah, he's going to go out of bounds. He spun to the inside and thought about it, realized he was trapped, able to use his big body to get out of bounds anyway. That was heads up.
16 yards to Percoats.
88, that's a good sports number. My father always told me to get double digits because people remember double digits.
Yeah, what happened then?
I don't know. No, I asked for it. I asked for 44 when I was in the pros. They said, no, you got to wear 46. I said, okay.
A lot of great players wear 46. A lot of skill position guys. Handoff. Simonton. Touchdown.
A great call by Tim Lopano. Terrific call. Throwing all the way down every single play. Suddenly you go with the draw play. Everybody has their back turns because they're in man-for-man coverage. Simonton goes in standing up.
13 yards on the score, and don't go anywhere, folks. Still a minute 27 left in this one. Oregon State does have a timeout remaining, and they can cut their deficit to 6. If Ryan Seska can hit the extra point. He's 1 for 4 in field goals here tonight. But he's able to put the extra point through. We've got our
ourselves a 6-point ball game. Minute 27 left in the fourth. An 81-yard drive in just a minute 31. It's capped off by Ken Simonton's touchdown. Ken Simonton has pulled the Beavers within 6. Now he wonders if his special teams can get him the football back.
Into the heights.
There you see 8.7-yard average, 2 touchdowns. Clearly the star of Oregon State today. Ryan Seska. And we're set for the onside kick. There it is. A bounce off the hands of Hawaii. Loose football.
I think Oregon State
has it.
I think it was
Roddy Tompkins.
Exactly right. They got it to the guy exactly who they wanted. They had Craig Stutzman, who's a great receiver for Hawaii, but he couldn't come up with it. It ricochets off his hands, and Tompkins is there to come up with it.
Had the good hands team on, and it didn't matter.
I don't see a flag down, Steve. But, of course...
Wow, it certainly looked like Oregon State had it. You see Dennis Erickson's reaction. He would agree with us.
He is absolutely livid. Now we need to hear what the referee says. Motion, because it wasn't offside. I don't understand this, and neither does Dennis Erickson.
We're being told it is offside against the kicking team. It would be the 14th penalty on Oregon State, and obviously the most damaging.
Right, take a look and decide for yourself as to whether or not it was offside. Difficult angle here, but take a look when the ball is kicked. Man, I don't think so. Man, it looks like everybody's behind the 35 there, Steve. I think Hawaii got a break.
Wow. It so rarely works. What are the odds it could work again? Seska will try.
Now the ball doesn't go 10 yards.
Goes out of bounds. And the flag flies. And... wow. What a finish we could have had on a close call. And Dennis Erickson will be taking that back with him on the plane, those emotions.
And Dennis, and once again, there's another flag on the field. What a surprise. I think he's got a beef there.
We have a procedure against the kickers. A kicker kick untouched going out of bounds.
Well,
by rule, they'll take the spot at the spot it went out of bounds. First down, Hawaii.
15th penalty against the Beavers.
Well, as I pointed out, I think Dennis Erickson has a beef, but again, you know, as many calls that have been made today, that certainly was a crucial one.
Beavers, sorry, Todd, Beavers can only stop the clock once with a timeout, and that's what they will do now. They use their last timeout right there.
But I think even Dennis Erickson would have to concede that his team has been thoroughly outplayed here in the second half by Hawaii.
Sports Center is coming up next. Reese Davis, Dave Feldman are standing by. And on a personal note, I'll have to say, man, I hope it's 12 degrees and snowing back at the studio. Hard to get any sympathy when you're saying you're working in Hawaii for a week.
It's understandable.
I've tried. It's very hard.
Well, actually, June Jones got a lot of sympathy when they said, what? You're leaving the San Diego Chargers to go coach Hawaii? Weren't they 0-12 last year? Are you crazy?
Reportedly had a 4-year, $3 million offer on the table from the Chargers.
He turned that down to come here. Look what he's done.
It's a great story.
It really is. Tremendous theater. And, of course, there's his defensive coordinator, Greg McMackin, who is certainly going out on a high note. You pointed out that this was the funnest year of his career. Well, that big smile on his face says a lot. He goes out a winner.
On his way to becoming a head coach. Texas
assistant head
coach. Beg your pardon.
Defensive coordinator at Texas Tech. Sure a likable fellow. And he's from Springfield, Oregon. I'm from Eugene. That was fun, man. Rapped about the Emerald Empire days. It was all good. Of course, I never did see him at the Lane County Fair.
Again, a Merry, Merry Christmas. And all of us
us at ESPN wish you that, and we appreciate you letting us be a part of your Christmas night, wherever you are watching. Jeep Oahu Bowl.
You're looking at Dennis Erickson. He's telling his people to be cool. Don't do anything foolish. He knows it's over with.
Oregon State will look back at a first half where they had all the opportunities, absolutely dominated the football game in the first half, missed 3 field goal attempts, and shouldn't have had to have 3 field goal attempts. Should have been able to score some points and then a touchdown.
There you see the obligatory splash on the back. And of course, here in this climate, as you pointed out, it's actually a welcome thing. Great. Throw on my back. It feels good.
80 degrees at kickoff. They had better than 47,000 fans on hand. And more good news for June Jones in this program. He was telling us in recent years this was a real NFL crowd. They'd maybe get 150 students at their football games, and that has completely turned around. It's amazing what winning can do.
And you know, Steve, what this is going to do for recruiting for the University of Hawaii. This is going to be such a boon to recruiting to come into the homes and say, we're the Aloha Bowl champions. We turned it around. Great excitement here in Honolulu, and justifiably so.
You get to spend 4 years in paradise. Tough to beat that. Congratulations to June Jones and his Hawaii Rainbows. 2 seconds. 1. That is it. Zeros on the clock. Hawaii, a winner here at home.
It can't get any better than this for June Jones and Hawaii. Just terrific for their program.
The Hawaii Rainbows, talk about a turnaround. It is now the best turnaround in NCAA history. The most improved record after going 0-12 a season ago. They have completely turned it around. They finished with a 9-4 record, and they cap it off with a bowl victory here in their home stadium. Hawaii gets it done. They knock off Oregon State. SportsCenter is coming up next. For Todd Christensen and Larry Beal and our entire crew, this is Steve Lindy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Merry Christmas. So long from Hawaii. SportsCenter is next.
Great.